All right. Yes, it's Friday night. I got Kaes on here live. Give us 30 seconds. We'll be right. Yes. All right. It is Friday night. And what else would you rather do than talk Chiefs, talk football? It was supposed to be with two guys. It's only just one. I got me and Kaes here. Big Chief Shawn is missing in action. Hopefully he's doing okay. Kaes, welcome to the Dan Show, man. Please listen. I'm going to interrupt you here real fast. You have a great show on Thursday nights. I joined. I had a great time. I was in the comments. But man, introduce yourself. Tell us about your great show.
Yeah, well, everybody from the comments knows me since I'm there. I just want to say really quick, I think we all know what you were doing during those 30 seconds, Dan. So that goes without saying. There's a reason why Dan has a lot more energy than the rest of us. I'll leave it at that. I am part of two channels actually on YouTube. I am part of RGR Football. I have a show on there that I co-host with somebody else. And then I also have a channel that was started with two members of RGR Football, and that is the Bak Talk Bros. You can find us on YouTube as well. And so, yeah, I'm excited to jump out of the comments and actually get on here and let's talk some football.
Man, that sounds like a great thing. And I got the link to the BTB show down below. I don't have the RGR, and I should have done that in the description box. Should put the RGR, but I didn't do that, so my apologies here. But the BTB show, I joined last night. It was a lot of fun, and as of right now, it's going to be every Friday. It's going to be every Thursday night at midnight. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean that makes it confusing because it's usually midnight Thursday night, which is technically Friday morning, but that's just for lives. We also put out content weekly. We're trying to get it up to daily, but we're three busy guys, and so at least we try to do those lives once a week or two, and we're trying to hit some Sunday afternoon lives as well. But we really wanted to do the midnight because there are Chiefs fans and football fans all over the world, and so they got to get some content too. There's night owls who's got to get some content too. They shouldn't have to be up all hours of the day to watch football when they can talk football at night. That's all I got to say. Shawn?
Yo.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, boys.
Hey, Big Chief Shawn, man. You know what? You're right in time to introduce Keith. Now I'm going to introduce you, man, because you know what? You know what's better? And then it looks like we got a surprise fourth person, because you know what's better than a threesome that with two other guys is a foursome with three guys talking football. Nothing better. Big Chief Shawn, man, welcome. Introduce yourself. I put the link to your show in the description.
Oh, thank you so much, man. Hey, everybody out there at Chiefs Kingdom YouTube. It is your boy, Big Chief Shawn. Super fan. I am what would you call a guy for tailgaters out there in the world who would love the Chiefs Arrowhead tailgates. I like to film them. Talk to fans of all kinds of shapes, sizes, and wherever you come from. And follow my channel on YouTube. And that's pretty much it, I guess.
Man, I've always been a big fan of your show. I've been a season ticket holder since '89. And it's funny, I've been to Arrowhead over 300 times. I'm not exaggerating. Season ticket holder since '89. Been over there 300 times. Never been to an opposing stadium in my life.
Wow.
Never. I've just been Arrowhead. So maybe I'm a little biased, but that record, the 142.2, that was me.
Yeah.
I had that. I couldn't talk afterwards, so I was at extra point two. That was all me. So
man. I love, honestly, perspective. I love what I do. And everybody out there who's watching Dan's show, that means you're very brilliant. Y'all know I'm trying to get up to 1,000 subs. So first of all, let's try to get to that. Secondly, I do what I do because the Chiefs Kingdom is the best fan base. I mean, no offense to any other fans, to any other franchises out there. I know y'all have y'all ways and your type and what you things, but me doing what I've been doing for almost 5-6 years now, literally from every place around the world that comes down to this place just comes down because of the environment itself. There's nothing magical about it. There's nothing, no technology that came out that we only have here, or some magical spell. It's just one great community of people for 6 hours getting drunk. But you think on the outside it looks like it's nothing, but man, when you come to that place, it's a whole other world, man. Politics don't exist, nothing else exists but football, beer, and good people. So,
and making as much noise as humanly possible.
Yeah, man.
It is the loudest stadium in the world. If you've never been to Arrowhead, I encourage you to go. I say this, I've never been to an opposing stadium. I've never been to an opposing.
I've been to a few. I mean, a lot of people want me to try to do stuff like that, but maybe someday, if I can get this channel going off the ground and doing what I needed to do, maybe that will be a goal one day.
And
filming other teams losing to us. That would be
that's not a bad idea. And also, I owe you an apology because we need to get together to eat some fried food, some fried Twinkies, some fried. That's on me. I'm doing a lot of traveling. I was telling Kaes that I've been doing some vacationing. I was actually in I call it Denver, but it's Black Hawk. It's like a suburb of Denver when they won.
Yeah, I know Black Hawk.
What do you call it? I know so little about other sports. The hockey championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there when the Avalanche. Those people went nuts. It's actually a great sports town. I kind of chuckle when they talk about the Broncos, but my opinion of the Broncos and I was on Kaes' show last night. Apparently, everybody thinks that the Broncos have this great team, and I don't see it. I think there's going to be a lot of disappointed Broncos fans. But anyway, I'm ranting and I'm rambling. Let's introduce the fourth person of our foursome, man. B. Rye, you're kind of traveling. You're going.
Oh yeah,
Coach yourself, man.
I'm in and out. It's your boy B. Rye, the bad guy.
I was waiting on you. Gooch, what's up, man?
The B and Bak Talk Bros, half the Huddle Bros on RGR.
Bak Talk Bros
all
on the
the smoke.
Man. Y'all better watch that show because I'm going to be on it soon. So,
yeah.
I hit myself up for an invite right before the show. Me and Kaes, I was like, can I come on? I was there last night. Great show.
And,
that's what I mean.
And I want to say that 142.2, I also was in the building. And you guys haven't experienced a packed Arrowhead loud.
Oh, it's amazing.
When I tell you can't hear yourself think, when they're going, actually try to think. You can't. It's impossible. I never thought that was a legit saying until that night.
That's what I went. And that's what I say when I do my videos. It's like people why do I do that? Or some people do ask why the tailgating part of it. It's like the community of fans. When we actually get together, it's real. It's unreal. Like you said, man, when that stadium's packed, everybody's just in that moment. That is a moment you just cannot replicate anywhere else, man. I mean, there are bigger places that do it, but the way we do it is just literally one of a kind. It's literally nothing like it, man. It's that sound or roar. It's literally like thunder. When it's so bad for other teams, when every team in the league just respects that noise.
I'll even add to that. The acoustics of Arrowhead Stadium are not built for noise, the kind of noise that we bring.
Tell them, Gooch.
It's an old stadium. It was built in, if I remember right, it was built in 72.
Yeah, it's not. Yes. It's not built for the kind of noise we bring. Yet we managed to bring the noise.
No offense to you, Seattle Seahawks fans. I mean, y'all did get a stadium built for the acoustics to be.
They still didn't get 142.
Everybody knows the real 12th man resides at One Arrowhead Drive.
Yeah. I mean,
All right. Hey, look, I'm gonna kick this off, and I'm gonna say something kind of unpopular here, but I do want to start off with the Tyreek Hill statement, and I'm gonna say something a little unpopular here. For those of you who don't know, Tyreek Hill, he started a podcast. He had I forget who was on, but he talked about his quarterback Tua being more accurate than Mahomes. Now, I'm gonna say this, and it's an unpopular thing for Chiefs, but I just want to get this off my chest. I have zero problem with him saying that because he's no longer on the Chiefs. He's got to pump up and sensationalize his YouTube channel, his podcast. He's got to build up a fan base. I have no problem with what he said. No problem at all. Now, of course, it's fictitious. Here's why it's fictitious. How many games have him and Tua played together? That's how I know it's fictitious. It's a made-up statement. I don't have a problem with it. But if you're one of those Chiefs fans that gave him a death threat or something, just come on. We're better than that.
I don't think that's true. I'm going to just honestly say that I think that death threat thing is just another way for attention. We cannot take anything he says to the serious level since he has gone out of his way to get attention for content.
Exactly.
You lost credibility of, leave me alone. I'm not trying to be bothered when you went out of your way to be bothered so people would notice. You know what I mean? And this is why I told people from the beginning, I told you this, Dan, did I not? It was not ever for whatever reasons he was saying. It was for the money. If he was just been more of an adult and said, hey, I took the money and ran, nobody would care.
You know, I'm in a minority because I have no problem with anything that he's done whatsoever. I mean,
but that's the whole point, though. He made it to where he thought whatever movement he make that people would care that much. He's not understanding that a lot of people like me knew that you weren't here for the long haul. I knew that from the jump. Just like everybody knew Kelsey was here for the long haul. A lot of people knew that. Everybody could just feel the energy off that boy. But what I'm saying is when it comes to Tyreek, there are many other ways to be able to hype your team up. For a Super Bowl champion, for a man who has been taught to know what to say to the media, for you to say something of that caliber to get attention says the kind of caliber of person you are. You could talk about how good your quarterback is all you want to. Nobody's going to care about that. You don't have to belittle anyone to do so. So when you doing that, trying to get attention, that's where you lose me at.
I get you.
Because those dudes, you could really see how Reed felt. He felt caught off guard when he heard about that stuff. Like, what do you? Because Reed's he's not a shit talker. Excuse my mouth. He doesn't talk crap. That's not his thing. It's never been his thing. He's not a confrontational thing. Even when Bell had something smart ass to say, he literally let water off a duck's back with him. So for Tyreek to do that, and he knows that's how Reed is, he knows that's how Mahomes is. He knows they don't respond to that kind of stuff. So saying that kind of stuff, I think he just literally did it just, hey, pay attention to me, and I don't dig it.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Keys, man, what is your take on it? I know you had a video, and I didn't put the video link in the description, but I do have the BTP link down below.
Yeah, by the way, excuse me, I didn't mean to interject, my dude. Shout out to my boys Kees and Gooch for their year anniversary special, man. Congratulations, y'all. Y'all been busting the ass all year, man. Excuse me. I'm sorry, Dan. I just wanted to.
Hey, man, we're here talking football.
Congratulations.
You do best, man.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Appreciate you, BCS.
Man,
Yeah.
what do you think, man?
I mean, I understand that Tyreek, he's got to get something controversial out there, right? So I understood why he was doing it at first, but I think the second podcast was more irritating because they start out at the beginning and they act absolutely shocked and appalled that people took a teaser trailer that they created to cause controversy, to stir up interest, and then pretended that they were the victims because everybody took it exactly how they expected and wanted them to take it. So, yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree with everybody, because I always try to find the balance in things. I understand why Tyreek, did what he did, but I also understand where Shawn is coming from. And yeah, I might have more to say, but I'll let Gooch hit it because I know he's going to have something juicy to say.
Man, let's hear your sense about what Tyreek said and his I think they're just silly comments, but man, what's your 2 cents, man?
Okay, so let me get in. I'm gonna get unpopular for a minute.
No, go ahead, man.
But he went over the top. He got the hat back.
In a game or in a sport full of alpha males, Tyreek is one of the few betas, or the jealous girlfriend, or because see, here's the thing. He took the money and ran. Look, if I'm playing a sport and you're offering me $30 million, I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? $30 million. But what he doesn't let on is that when he was like, "Can you give me 25, 26?" That's what the Chiefs offered him to stay. And then Drew Rosenhaus said, "Oh, the floor has to be Devontae Adams." He went back to the Chiefs and said the floor has to be Devontae Adams. So don't lie to me and tell me you wanted to be here. I'm good if you don't want to go. I'm all for player movement. Get your money. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm out here getting mine. Get comfortable. But then to turn around and be like, "Oh, I wasn't seeing the ball. Can I see the pill, please?" And this and the other. And I did the stats. He was seeing the ball, I think, over the year, 20% of all the.
It looks like he just got disconnected for a second. Okay,
there
you are. All right. And
y'all don't even want to know what he's saying right now.
So I get a lot of phone calls from traveling, and people don't know when to leave me alone.
That's all good.
I just I feel like you took the money, now you're throwing shade when all they did was, first of all, they drafted you after your college issues. Then after your pro issues, the one team to stand by you gives you another contract. And then you want to throw shade, and then Drew Rosenhaus said it best. He wants to be the face, and in Kansas City, that's not going to happen. It's going to be Mahomes, or it's going to be Reed, or it's going to be Travis, and then Tyreek. And he wants the notoriety. And that's where I said, like, the beta male, jealous girlfriend, he wants what he can't have. And so, well, if I can't get it here, well, the grass has got to be greener over there. And I love you, Tyreek. I appreciate the Super Bowl. You are a once and probably a lifetime talent.
Gave
but
away
they won games without you, bro. And you have fun. I'm an Alabama guy, so please take this seriously. You have fun on those 5-yard bubble screens and those handoffs from the backfield.
Well, it's going to be interesting with the type of offense that they're running with the rookie head coach.
At least he'll be familiar with it. I mean, he's played with Alex Smith, so he knows how to deal with mediocrity.
There will be no Alex Smith slander. Alex Smith.
Look, man,
I'm sorry.
Look, let's keep it good. Gooch, let's not do this, man. Let's not do this, Gooch. We know the best play of Alex Smith's career with Tyreek was that I can't see him, but I'm gonna throw 60 yards back down the field out of nowhere in that New England game.
Well,
I also think that he's gonna have a tougher time because 111 catches on 150 something targets or whatever last year.
Double.
I don't think it's gonna double. I think it's gonna shrink.
You really think so?
I don't think his catches are either going to go way up and his yards are going to go way down.
Yeah.
Because they're going to like, okay, who is it, Waddle over there? Is it Waddle on the other side of Tyreek?
They got Waddle. They got Jaceki. I think they added 5 or 6 running backs. But what you got to realize is that Andy Reid's a pass-first coach. Mike McDonald, if he's going to run the same type of offense that he ran in San Francisco, is going to be a run-first coach. So those targets pretty much got to go down.
Oh, no. I hope that idiot won't run jet sweeps.
Week 6 and 7 of the It Needed to Be Said podcast are going to be must-listens.
I'm going to bring up something Funk put in here, and Hill has to say whether he believes it or not. And here's the thing. There's no way this is a factual statement by Tyreek Hill because they haven't played any real games. He's just had some 7-on-7 practices, which if you look bad in a 7-on-7 practice, you're not an NFL caliber quarterback.
Right.
But pissing off his new quarterback could hurt him because you put this in here. Which one of you guys put it in? I'm missing the comment here, but okay, here it is. It's extra pressure on Tua to perform.
Yeah.
You know, it's extra undue pressure because he was always under a lot of pressure. Because look at the quarterbacks that were chosen before and after him. You got Burrow, who went to a Super Bowl, and there's idiots out there who think Herbert's just as good as Mahomes. But I mean, let's be real here. Chargers fans are special.
If we're being honest here, because we're all friends and stuff. If we're being honest here, we have to respect Herbert's game. It's not. Is it Allen or Mahomes level? No, but he's right there second. And second tier.
He's a damn good quarterback. I mean, let's not call him Mahomes
to still win a Super Bowl, because that's why Stafford finally got one. That boy ain't gonna never be elite level, but he's second tier level. Second tier is all you need. I mean, the bare minimum. That is the bare minimum to win a Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what? Let's transition this because you brought up
Trent Dilfer.
Yeah,
not second tier.
Yeah, Trent Dilfer. Oh God, was it Brad Johnson? I mean,
different. Trent Dilfer's different. That defense was on a whole nother level, so it was like it didn't matter who was quarterbacking that team.
But let's transition this because we're talking Super Bowl, and this is the first topic of conversation here. The first topic I want to know from each one of you guys individually here, and we'll start off with Gooch here. Give me the team to beat in the AFC. Who's going to represent the AFC in this year's Super Bowl? Who's the best team here?
This is going to sound, as we say on the huddle, like I'm snorting the Kool-Aid, but in reality, the team to beat is the Chiefs. I respect everything that Cincinnati made it to the Super Bowl. I get that, but it took a catastrophic failure by the Chiefs for them to not be there. And if you look back at the second half of that game, that's exactly what it was, a catastrophic failure. I mean, you didn't physically beat them. They beat themselves because they were whooping you for the first 30 minutes. And so I feel like realistically, they didn't get beat. And Ric Flair said it best, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And nobody's really beat them. I mean, 4 AFC Championship games in a row.
I still
home field still goes through one Arrowhead Drive.
All right, so we got one out of the foursome that we got here. One Big Chief Shawn. Are you going to surprise us? We got a different answer out of you, or who's the team beating AFC, man?
Now, you know me. I always go for those takes that a lot of people don't see coming. You know, especially because I love football that much. Obviously, obviously it's us because of how we're now fortified, especially if our defense is good with Karvalatis and Chanel and McDuffie and all that kind of stuff. If we're solidifying the defense that we are, but if right now, seeing that how we did melt down against a very inferior team, and I think it was a lot of dynamic on the team right now. It's all different, man. I want to be different. I do. I want to really yell out of the rooftops and say the Bills, but ain't nobody beat us yet. We don't have the right to say or look at anybody. That's what the fake media is doing right now, trying to put the Bills and all these other AFC teams on pedestals that they deserve yet. You already calling the Chargers and the Broncos already Super Bowl caliber teams because of one move that both teams made. Usually I try to look outside the box or who could really be a threat and coming up like the Ravens or something like that. But I keep looking back and back and back. Ain't nobody took us out. Until somebody could legitimately take us out, I want to say the Bills, but that would be a lie because every time we go against them, we put them back in their place. 13 seconds exists for a reason. I'm sorry, man. I really try to have a cool take for you, but it's the Chiefs, man. We're the best team right now. Like,
man, Kaes, are you gonna be the third straight one here? Do you got a different take for us? Who's team beating AFC, man?
I think to one side of things, it's always hard to bet against the best quarterback head coach combo in the NFL, which would hands down be Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. This team does have some question marks, and I mean, it's July 1st. We have to see some preseason games. The offense is going to have to carry the defense because of how young it is, at least until the bye week, in my opinion. And we have a very tough schedule. And the offense has a lot of changes itself. And so, I think they're going to rise to the occasion. I think Mahomes is embarrassed about what happened in the second half of the Bengals game. I think with Tyreek gone and some of Tyreek's comments, I think there's a lot of motivation on the team. And they no longer have that necessarily that target that the Bengals now have. But at the same time, I'm not ready to completely just say the Chiefs, because I think that the AFC West and the AFC North are two very tough divisions, at least on paper. This year, we've been saying for a few years that the Broncos were a quarterback away. And then they got their quarterback, but they brought in a whole new coaching staff, which, it brings in some dynamics questions that, like if Fangio and that staff had stayed, there would have been the continuity. You just needed a quarterback. You brought him in. Then I think there's less questions that need to be answered, and I'm more for that positivity there. But because they brought in a new staff, I think that brings questions for them. I think I completely understand people being high on the Raiders. They made the playoffs last year. They were the second place team. Then they bring in Devontae Adams, and they bring in a head coach who's been a head coach before and has spent, almost 2 decades with Bill Belichick. So I understand the positivity there as well. Just for me, that quarterback head coach combo is not in the same league as with the Chiefs. And then you have the Chargers, who should have made the playoffs if not for Staley being an arrogant prick and calling that timeout and pissing off the Raiders. And so, I think this division is going to be really tight. I also think the AFC North is going to be really tight because it was only separated by 2 games from top to bottom. The Bengals played a very easy strength of schedule last year. The Ravens had all kinds of injuries. And then they had a lot of COVID issues. And the Browns were quarterback away as well. And I know people are high on Baker, but the analytics say otherwise. And my eye test says otherwise. And so for me, I believe that it's going to come down to the AFC West. I would throw in the Ravens. I'm even willing to throw in the Bengals a bit. They had a lot of luck with an easy schedule last year. They have a much harder schedule this year.
You don't get a group selection. You got to narrow that down to 1.
Well, I think we got the answer as the Chiefs, and let me ask. I'm going to ask all you guys this. So, AFC only. Who's team number 2? Who's most? We all think it's Kansas City. Who's the most dangerous threat here, man? Kaes, who's team number 2? You gave us a lot of teams here, man. Just give us number 2.
All right, I'm gonna go with the Ravens again. They were devastated by injuries last year, and they still won 7 games. To me, that was impressive. And they're playing a last place schedule this year. So, it's going to come down to how they move on from trading Hollywood Brown and what their coordinators do. But John Harbaugh is one heck of a coach. Lamar Jackson is the best running back in the NFL. And, right now I'm inclined to say them just because what they did to win 7 games last year was super impressive with all the injuries they had.
All right, I actually really like that pick. I was just reading right before we went on about I believe it's Josh Bynes had that cocaine fentanyl overdose, and that's just a damn shame. It kind of goes beyond sports. It's really 25-year-old kid dying, and it's sad, but kind of wonder what kind of effect that's going to have on the team. But everything that you said about the Ravens, I kind of agree with. I think that today, right now, they're my team to win the North. I don't know if they're really a threat for Kansas City or not, but it's interesting. Big Chief Shawn. We all saw you nodding your head. You don't like it here. Give us team number 2 in the AFC, man.
I mean, come on, y'all. Let's not do this. We know it's the Bills. It's always them. They're getting better every season. They almost had us this year. We can't just ignore what they did last season. They played the same teams we played, basically, and they came out just as strong. They're going to do it again. Like, they're a whole new dynamic of team. That kid, the worst thing that we did playing the Bills in that greatest playoff game ever played was give that boy confidence. That is a killer more than anything in the world. That is what made Patrick Mahomes a Super Bowl champion. When he saw he had the confidence to come back from 24-0 and win the game by 30 points, that gave him confidence. When you give a quarterback confidence, they will accomplish. You're putting your faith on Lamar Jackson. The boy ain't even accurate yet. It's not his time yet. He's not ready. He hasn't even won a playoff game yet. With the full roster.
Who hasn't won a playoff game?
Lamar Jackson.
No, he beat Tennessee.
No, the Tennessee beat them.
No, the next year. The first year. The following year. So he's got one, but you're 100% correct that in the playoffs he's played very bad. His plays just gone down.
I try to tell people that there are mobile quarterbacks and there are quarterbacks that's mobile. And he's a mobile quarterback, and those are pretty and all that stuff. But Allen, he's a quarterback that's mobile. He'll take off, but only when it's necessary. He's throwing bombs. They got Von Miller, like they're taking this seriously, man. It's
They spent a lot of money on Von Miller.
Yeah, because
they gave him a lot of money. He's going to be 34 playing defensive end instead of outside linebacker. I don't know if there's a run first team with a big offensive line and big running backs. Oh, wait a minute, New England's in that division. So it'll be. I'm looking forward to that AFC East. I think it's going to be a very entertaining division here. Man, Gooch, you're up, man. Who's team number 2 in AFC? Man?
Sweet baby Jesus, the Bills. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So let me go ahead and kill all of this. Team number 2 is the Ravens.
All right. All right. I got the Ravens.
They played defense with their 5th and 6th string wide receivers at cornerback. They don't play deep, and still Harbaugh managed to win 7 games. Now, I don't know if you know this, but Harbaugh is from the Andy Reid tree. And I'm going to put that kid past him. That's terrible. But Harbaugh knows how to rally those troops, and they're going to dedicate this season to that kid, and there's going to be emotion every single game. Not to mention they won 7 games with Lamar missing a lot of them. Now, he may be the greatest running back outside of Michael Vick that we've ever seen. But it's something I said last night. If Lamar is healthy in a playoff game,
he's going to fail.
Can you keep him in the pocket? Because the last thing you want is for Lamar to break that tackle, and now you've got 4.2 speed running down the center of the field, which you're not going to catch. And Buffalo, yes, Buffalo, okay. I'm going to kill your confidence quote because Mahomes was doing that at Texas Tech. They weren't winning, but he was rallying them from 35-42 down to make the score at least respectable. So he'd been able to do that from college. So that was just he has that, I don't want to call it ego, but he has that confidence. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, the worst thing that could ever happen to them is they're in the same division as Patrick. And every time they go one-on-one with the man, they tend to end up on the short end of the stick. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just saying 13 seconds. He had to have Josh Allen played the game of his life.
More of a reason why
if you go
y'all
over his stop, hold on. If you go over his career, he played the game of his life. He had to channel Joe Namath and Joe Montana in that game, and he still came up short. You know what I'm saying?
Against a terrible defense.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess.
Mike Hughes, Daniel Sorensen.
That would be the equivalent of saying that you hate. You would be mad at the police because nobody stays in jail. It's like that ain't our fault. We just arrest them. Like that, you can't put that. Oh, okay, and then you're talking about the 13 seconds and he still failed. But let's not forget that Lamar Jackson has never had a 13-second moment, and he never will have one. You're really going off the man that has never been tested on anything. He can't even beat Patrick Mahomes. Come on, man.
Bro, you're saying
You-
that they're the team to beat, and they were the worst defense all year long.
Let's keep it real. If they'd have beat Kansas City, they would have advanced about as far as the Bills. They would have beaten the Bengals.
If and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. You know what I'm saying?
All right,
Let me just.
go ahead.
Can I respond to Shawn really quick?
Absolutely.
Shawn, it doesn't matter if Lamar Jackson can beat the Chiefs. Joe Burrow can't beat the Chiefs. All it takes is Patrick Mahomes and Steve Spagnuolo beating the Chiefs.
But your both of y'all logic on the Ravens doesn't make sense because both of y'all keep not adding the quarterback, the most crucial piece of a win. Y'all like, oh well, maybe if he does the run, they might win. So you're saying if he stays in the pocket because he's not accurate as a quarterback, we all know this. We've seen him do those little things at the Pro Bowl. He's not accurate worth the damn. And you're gonna tell me the only way he can win is they run a jet sweep. Do you hear yourselves? Do you really hear yourselves? Instead of the guy who Allen can make passing touchdowns to all of his wide receivers to make 13 seconds happen. They ain't never been a moment of that boy ever having a 13-second moment. Every time he has that moment to win the game, he fails. Look at every time Lamar Jackson had the ball in his hands for the fourth quarter. He has failed. He's either thrown an interception, missed the ball, or fumbled. You're really going to put him over? That's fine. I guess everybody wants to be Michael Vick when they grow up someday. And
you have some good points, but I'm actually floored because I was not expecting to hear the Ravens, and I'm kind of
me too. No,
I'm high on the Ravens, but the one I will contradict.
I thought you was going to say something like the Chargers or something.
Me,
not the Ravens.
I'm surprised here at the Ravens. I'm higher on the Ravens than you are, but to contradict what you're saying, in the playoff win against the Titans, if I remember correctly, they had to come back in the fourth quarter and beat the Tennessee Titans, who upset them the year before.
They didn't even have Derrick Henry, did they?
I think they did. But the thing is that was kind of his moment. He got the Titans knocked them out. Remember, they advanced to Arrowhead. Right. They had a lead on us, and then, of course, the better team won. That's a no-brainer. Yeah. And then Tennessee had home field advantage. I'm surprised to hear the Ravens, but I'm higher on them than you are. I'm kind of just going tick for tack.
Out of all the teams in the AFC, I will admit the Ravens are like 6, maybe 5 on that list if they're improved, but they are not on the level of dominance as these, especially when Lamar Jackson is their quarterback. I said like this,
not a Lamar Jackson fan.
The one thing that I would have hoped that the Ravens would have done was try to replace Lamar with Russell Wilson. They should have done that. Then I would have agreed with you. I've been the Ravens got it. They might just win this. If they'd have had Russell Wilson for a quarterback and traded, I'd have been like, I agree with y'all 100%. But as long as Lamar Jackson is their quarterback, and y'all both admit y'all can't even call him a warder. Y'all don't even call him a running back. I
was getting ready to say I called him a running back.
I do it too. You don't even call him a quarterback. And y'all really putting a faith in a man who can't do his job? Are you serious? Like it's crazy.
Well, I'm gonna read some comments here. Funk has a good one.
I'm not gonna say I hope y'all right, but I mean it just seems far fetched to me.
I'm gonna read some comments here. Funk has a good one. This is hard to hear after Tucker kicked a new record to beat my Lions. I wasn't happy about that either. I was shocked to hear that. What was it, 66, 67?
On that team.
Funk has another great comment here. According to Darren Waller, the Raiders had the best tight end in the league, even had Pitts over Andrews. That's wow. I'm surprised Waller considers himself better than Kelsey. It's actually funny because on Kaes, the BTV show, he had a great comment about adding a receiver makes you an elite quarterback, and how people were saying Derek Carr is an elite quarterback because now he has an elite wide receiver. Well, isn't Darren Waller just a big elite wide receiver, and he's still not an elite quarterback? Goddard's better. Last year he might have been. I don't know about this year. The Bills did lose to the Jaguars. That was one of their 2 losses, if I do remember right. No, Travis Kelce is the best tight end in the NFL. He doesn't have to declare it, just does it. And then, you have a great point here. Bills don't have Brian Dable. He's now the head coach with the New York Giants. That's going to be interesting. Denver Gators has, you guys ever see Clockwork Orange, where the guy is subjected to torture to watching evil clips and comes physically ill when he hears a certain song, asking for a Broncos fan? Is that what happens when you guys hear the Tomahawk Chop? Broncos fans kind of busting.
No, because y'all saw from that video last year, when they hear it, they just chop with us. Yep. That guy he says, we're losing by a lot. Why not?
This is a new one. Vaughn won't have Donald though.
He don't need Donald.
I was kind of saving this.
He didn't need Donald when he won the Super Bowl for Denver Gators Broncos. I'm just saying, man. He's an elite player. It doesn't matter of his age. If you're good, you're just good. You've added on to the defense that almost beat us.
They did have a great defense.
They just upgrade. They just gave himself a captain.
The one thing
that makes a difference. Just like Khalil Mack going, you know what I'm saying? Like it makes sense. Like,
well, I'm actually going to disagree here. I think that the Bills may end up. I'm when I start breaking down the teams July 18th, but just today, right now, I have a surprise pick. I think the Patriots are going to win that division. I think, we talked about it. If you had to say, give me a team that scares Kansas City, I would say watch out for the Patriots. I love that defense, up and coming quarterback. I don't think they're in our class yet, but that AFC East is just going to be really interesting here. But Wink, great point. Welcome to the show. If you haven't already, man, hit the subscribe button. By the way, I have the BTP and Big Chief Shawn. I have the links in the description page. If you're not subscribed to their channels, you're making a mistake. Do it. Subscribe. They have some great shows here. Gator, I haven't seen that movie in a minute. Now, you know what? I haven't seen that either. I kind of want to watch that. I have to give love to the AFC West. As a Chiefs fan, I understand Denver, because I have to hear the words coming out of my mouth talking about the rest of the AFC West. If my Funk coming in strong, man. Gucci's that one too, man. Kelce can be the best if you don't care about blocking. And that's the best part about Travis Kelce, is that the Chiefs realize that Kelce is basically a big wide receiver. I think last year was the first year that Kelce wasn't the number one receiver on the Chiefs. That was Tyreek Hill. But people would always say before Tyreek Hill became a Pro Bowl wide receiver, Chiefs need a wide receiver. And I said, they got one. He wears 87. He's a decent blocker. Chiefs don't ask him to block, and nor should they. Should they. You know how many tight ends have 4 seasons of over 1,000 receiving yards? You know how many tight ends? The answer is 1, and that's Travis Kelce. No other tight end in NFL history has more than 1,000 receiving yards in 3 consecutive seasons. No tight end has more than 3. Travis Kelce is going on 6. He's 6. This year will be 7, hopefully. Hopefully, knock on wood, it's going to be 7. Vaughn is a finishing piece, guy's a beast. Remember, he played outside linebacker with Aaron Donald. They're going to ask him to play defensive end. And he's not bad against the run, but I think that if I'm going against the Buffalo Bills, I'm targeting Von Miller and I'm running right over his ass.
Okay.
That's the way I would attack.
You don't have any runners that can do that, but okay. You keep underestimating them, man. That's why these teams keep paying Von Miller. Because he produces. Well, he had Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald
produces linebacker, and when you have Aaron Donald and you're an outside linebacker, that's completely different than being a defensive end.
True. I will admit that.
Kelce is about to track down everybody in the next. I think if Travis Kelce retires today, just says, "Hey, I'm done with football," I think he walks in the camp. I
Oh yeah,
really do.
yeah. He already has the numbers, and he already has the credentials. He's already above and beyond the credentials of doing.
Let's see here. Last time Big Chief Shawn was in the show, we were discussing MVP midseason. I jokingly said Lamar to get him fired up. Just a mention of his name sets off nuclear. Yeah, Big Chief Shawn does not like Lamar Jackson. Somebody said Lamar Jackson.
Look. The reason I get so hot about Jackson all the time is this boy is pure. He's the Allen Iverson of football. He's so hyped up for doing so little. Oh, he got the MVP. You got the most yards of a quarterback. Congratulations. You did something that somebody else's position was supposed to do in the first place. Now let me be happy that a cop did a fireman's job next. Like it makes no sense that these people give this love to a boy who's not good at what he does. That would be like Travis Kelce being really good at the run game.
No, all right. Fair,
it makes no sense. And he got that MVP. He didn't even pack up with a good. He's so overrated, and like everybody likes him.
What you don't know is that Big Chief Shawn was dating this girl, and Lamar Jackson stole her. That's what you don't. I'm fine. All right, guys. Hey, let's talk about this here. So we pretty much all agree that we're all Chiefs fans and everything. So we all agree probably Kansas City's probably the best team in the AFC. One thing that's universal is all of us believe the Chiefs are the best.
We're not biased at all, Kaes.
Kaes had a fantastic. I actually wish I would have used part of what Kaes did on last night's show on this show, because I do want to talk about the AFC West, and I'm going to start off with Kaes here. Kaes, man. By the way, I love what you did. You broke down. You broke down the NFL Network, and they broke down the schedule, and they gave the records of all four of the AFC West teams. It was a joke of what they had with their scheduling, but we all know that the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC West. Kaes, who's number two, and who's a danger to Kansas City to win the AFC West?
My first instinct is to say the Raiders, simply because they were number two last year. They did go through the whole John Gruden drama and having their special teams coach take over. And they have added a head coach who's done it before and did work with Bill Belichick. And they did add Devontae Adams. So, that's my first instinct. At the same time, I'm still expecting the Chargers, to keep taking their push forward as well. But yeah, my first instinct was the Raiders. I'm going to have to stick with them, but, I could see the Raiders also Raidering, and so, yeah. But for now, I'm going to say the Raiders because of that. They were number two last year. You can say they upgraded over head coach. I wanted to see John Gruden coach all 10 years of that contract for a reason. Just why I wanted John Elway to stay the GM of the Broncos and keep drafting quarterbacks for the same reason. So,
was he? Yeah, he is bad at picking quarterbacks. You're right, Kaes.
All right, the Raiders. I was kind of surprised that you said that, but Big Chief Shawn, man, who's team number two in the AFC West, and also, are they a legitimate threat to beat Kansas City?
I'm gonna back up on my boy Kaes. I kind of want to say the Raiders because he makes a lot of good points. They did upgrade a lot, quote unquote. We don't know if they're exactly upgrades yet. But getting Devontae and getting more serious coaching, you could say the Raiders. They look like they're doing better, but it's to me, until otherwise proven, that it's the Chargers, man. They are the only ones that get those so close moments, because the other two teams will, like he said, the Raiders are going to Raider eventually, man. They do it without hesitation. It's like they look like they're on top of the world and just shoot themselves in the foot right back to where they were, man. Like he said, hiring Gruden for a 10-year contract should just show you the dynamic of what the Raiders just do on a whim. You bought Devontae Adams, but you didn't get yourself a total team to back that play up. But I have to go with the Chargers, though, because
you're on the Chargers.
Herbert, he's, like I said, he's not Mahomes level yet, but he's getting better. and he's improving. The team's improving, and then they get Khalil Mack or something like that.
They got Khalil Mack. They got Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson.
Yeah, J.C. Jackson, and not to mention they still have whatchamacallit linebacker. I mean, they might not, but yeah, they are that threat, man. I gotta say Chargers.
All right, yeah, Chargers there, man. And man, Gooch. No, actually, Shawn, let me ask you this here before I bring up Gooch here. How much are a threat to the Chargers to win the AFC West? Are we worrying week 17, week 16? Are we sweating it as Chiefs fans?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So down to the wire. All right.
They made it that game for a reason because they knew people were going to be watching that game because it was probably going to be important, just like it was last year.
If I remember from Kaes' show correctly, I think I don't have the Chiefs schedule up, but I think we end the season in Vegas against the Raiders. If I'm correct,
yeah, I think so. Right, Kaes. That's the Raiders, right?
Yeah, it's the Raiders, and it's in Vegas. If I'm correct, I think the last two games are on the road, and then Gooch. According to what I'm seeing here, his audio's off, so I can't hear what his comment is. But I want to bring this up here. Funk has some great comments in here. Most people I know don't like Lamar. As a matter of fact, Lions fans that don't like Goff don't even want to bring. You know, that really surprises me, to tell you the truth, Funk. If you could have Lamar Jackson or Goff, to hear you say that you'd rather have Goff just floors me.
Now, I don't like Lamar, but I would take Lamar over Goff.
And also, I'm going to piggyback here because I 100% agree with Funk. It's kind of strange because me and Funk disagree with each other quite a bit, but a lot of times Funk has the ability to reach inside my head and put into words what I'm thinking. And this is one of those moments where he says Carr needs more respect for what he's able to do with everything going on with that organization, from the player drama to the organization drama. Yeah, he deserves a little more credit. And I couldn't agree more with you. I think he's one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the NFL. You know, first half of his career, he has to deal with being second fiddle to Peyton Manning. Now he's got to deal with being third fiddle. I mean, there's nothing wrong with not being as good as Mahomes. When people say that Josh Allen, I hear this from Bills fans all the time. Josh Allen's better than Mahomes. No, he's not. But there's nothing wrong with being a really, really good quarterback, and that's what Carr is. You're not as good as Mahomes. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I found it's one of those times where you've reached into my head, put into words what I wish I would have said.
And to back that up, what Kaes was saying about how the Raiders have gotten better, they have gotten better, and I'm not going to say anything on Carr. You know, I make fun of Carr too. I'm one of those ones. I'm not going to cap act like I don't make fun of Carr because of what he's done in the Raiders. But this will be the season to prove that is he good as everybody wants him to be. I mean, he's got the setup. So
I'll say Gooch and I. We've said multiple times that Derek Carr is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, and we've also said that if Derek Carr wasn't in the AFC West, in basically every other division, he would at least be a top 2 quarterback in that division. So, I mean, you're not going to get Chiefs homerism hate from us on that, but I will respond to one Funk's comment because I'm gonna say this much. If you really think that one, Funk, what the hell were you watching when you watched Super Bowl 55? Because Mahomes was under pressure every single snap with the backup offensive line, and he was still throwing darts and hitting receivers in their hands and their helmet. So right now, I'm turning into Shawn because I think that's an absolutely stupid take.
Which take do we got here? Are you talking about this one or?
Yeah,
I've seen Mahomes really fall apart when the O-line didn't keep.
Y'all done got Kaes heated. What's wrong with y'all?
All right, and then but he turns into Steve Bono. I think that he's got a good point. Is that Carr does deserve a little more credit here? Because like I said, there's nothing wrong. Like Bills fans always want to say that Allen's better than Mahomes, and
of course they're going to say that. I mean,
but there's nothing wrong with not being as good as Mahomes.
See, the way you're phrasing it, it makes it sound like he's always going to be like that. The whole thing is, it's not about a who's better than who type of a thing. It's just a beautiful thing to see a rivalry in real time.
It is.
You know, last time we seen one was Mahomes and Manning, or Mahomes and Manning was Brady and Manning. That was a rivalry. That one wasn't always better than the other. One just always had an advantage that the other one didn't. You know what I mean?
Well,
And
I
with
mean, I
and
love
with
it.
and with Allen and Mahomes, that's what this is. You know what I mean? They have beaten us, and we've beaten them, and it's all about advantages. That 13 seconds, we'd like to talk with our chest out and how badass that 13 seconds was. But let's keep it real. The Bills kept up. Every time we scored, they did. The only reason they did, it was overtime. If it was fourth quarter, we'd be still darting each other back and forth.
But they were still going up against our defense.
True.
Mahomes was doing it against the number 1 defense in the NFL. Allen was going up against a junior high defense.
And
I mean, they're two huge different performances. It's like if me and you we're playing Madden, and you're playing at the lowest level in the game, and I'm playing on all Madden, and we go head to head, and it's a 3-point game, and then you start to brag about your performance. Get real.
I mean, but come on, he did keep up though. That's the only reason why we even got, because we had Mahomes. Any other quarterback in that situation would have failed. That's the whole point of how good Allen is. I'm not saying that Mahomes has the advantage as of right now, and that's the whole point of a rivalry. Ryu ain't gonna he's not always gonna be Ken, but he's gonna mostly lose to him. That's a nerd reference. Right. But I'm saying when it comes to those two, it's a rivalry. That's why they respect each other. That's why they're playing golf together. That's why they're hanging out, because they know this is a rivalry. Manning and Brady hung out too. They understand they both have skills to beat each other. It's all in circumstance of what happens. That 13 seconds was literally the flip of a coin, which I hate now, that the fact that those new overtime rules, because people started whining about them. But nevertheless, that game was epic, not only because of Mahomes' play, because of Allen's play. That's why that game was great. If it was just Mahomes being Mahomes, it'd be another playoff game that he does the normal stuff. But he had to go above and beyond to win this game. That 13 seconds mattered, because without that 13 seconds, there would be no overtime.
I just remember when the Chiefs lost after Mahomes put up 31 in the second half, and the Chiefs lost in overtime to the New England Patriots. They didn't change the rules for the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, they didn't institute new overtime rules, but the Bills, it happens to the Bills, you had to institute new overtime rules. I'm kind of bitter about that, because I didn't hear all this stuff.
I'm a defensive minded man. I love my offensive, but I love defense more.
Oh, please allow me to chime in on all of this.
Well, hey, I wanted to get to you here, Gooch. Give us team number 2 in the AFC West.
Raiders.
Okay. I'm actually kind of surprised. But
I have multiple reasons behind it.
All right, let's hear it.
One, the Chargers coach is going to be his arrogant self. He's still going to continue to go for it on 4th down, and he's still going to fail.
He wins games,
I think Russ is on the tail end, and letting Russ cook isn't going to mean what it meant 2 years ago in Seattle. 3, look, David Carr is the 4th best quarterback in our division, if you look at it that way.
Derek, not David. David is the idiot commentator.
Okay, David is the 70 sack 2 seasons in a row quarterback. That's never been done before. You're right. Okay. Derek is the 4th best quarterback in our division. Go through every other division outside of the AFC North and East, and you could argue he's the best quarterback in that division. And I don't know, guys, you know, it's you ever see the Raiders are usually a first half solid team, and in the second half they blow up. But let me tell you what's a great motivator in every single sport. Pat Riley won over LeBron by walking in with a set of his rings and sitting them on the counter. Josh McDaniel has 6 of those. It's really easy to be motivated and follow the lead dog when he's got 6 of something you don't have any of. And he's learned at the foot, let's face it, he's learned at the foot of the master. Nobody's going to argue that Bill Belichick isn't the greatest coach of all time.
You know,
I'm just saying.
I'm kind of surprised that I thought I was going to be the only one to say the Raiders are a number one threat, but I think that they're a year away. I think McDaniels is going to need some time to implement everything. When I look at the Raiders, I see a team that's gotten better. With the Chargers, I'm not 100% sure that they got as improved as everybody says they would. Khalil Mack missed the last half of the season. He's what, 31, 32 after missing 8-9 weeks. J.C. Jackson, it's a great addition, but how many times have you seen a player leave New England and have that same type of success on the field?
Right, you never see that.
That didn't happen. Gilmore,
Darrell Revis.
You need to take in.
Revis.
You need to take into account that, like you're saying, like the Raiders are going to be a year away, but look what he did with Mac Jones in 1 year. Derek Carr is a vet. They got to the playoffs with Mac Jones.
Well, you have to understand, Mac Jones came into a situation.
They won a game without him, man. Any quarterback that came, anytime you can win a game when the quarterback's there and healthy, you don't have a dog in this fight, man. You had to run to win, and that's never going to be forgotten. So if you really want to back Mac Jones like that, you can, my brother. He's gonna have to have like a 400 or 500 yard game with no mistakes.
I am not a fan of the evil empire. Don't get it twisted.
I mean, you said you see what he did with Mac Jones. I'm like, he really didn't do anything.
Josh McDaniels, and he made them. He won a game without Mac Jones. Okay, that was Belichick's call, but you don't think that he could do something?
That should tell you. He would have never made that call with Brady.
You're talking about a coach who won a playoff game with Tim Tebow. Derek Carr is way better than Tim Tebow.
And who was on that defense of that Tim Tebow team?
Doesn't matter. It was Tebow.
Von Miller?
He was
it Von Miller? Was it Von Miller, Dan? Oh,
it was Miller, but I think actually you have some really good points. I do think that's the whole thing is McDaniel's going to be able to implement that offense immediately?
Not right now.
Or is it going to take a year?
I think they'll be a threat next year because they'll have it all together. And
well, this is exactly the reason. This is exactly the reason why I tell Broncos fans, like, man, you guys are going to be in for a long season. Kaes on BTP, they had a great show last night, and if I remember right, didn't the NFL Network say that they had the Broncos predicting to win the division? Is that correct?
Yeah, the guy who was on there did. Yeah,
really? He really said the Broncos?
He broke down. It was a great show. It was a phenomenal show. They had the NFL Network. They broke down the schedule of all 4 AFC West teams, and they gave record predictions. They had the Chiefs. I'm spoiling the show here. You guys should go back and watch it.
I'm still going to watch it.
Yeah, it's a great show. So if I remember right, they had the Chiefs finishing 3rd in the division, going 10-7.
Right.
Is that correct?
10-7?
No, I think it was actually 4th. They had the Chiefs going from 1st to 4th, but being 10-7.
What was our record?
10-7.
10-7. That's so disrespectful.
That's actually a good point here. I want to read some of these comments, and obviously Denver. By the way, his name Denver Gator implies that he's a Broncos and Florida Gators fan, but he's actually a big-time Chiefs fan and LSU Tigers fan. Denver Gator says, obviously, I hate the Raiders. I think the Chargers are Super Bowl favorites every summer. Respect the Chiefs, but over the Raiders. But did the Raiders overachieve? The team galvanized around terrible situations. Will they have the heart and discipline to do it again? That's the whole question, Denver Gator. Great comment, by the way. And that's the reason why I had them at number 2, because I think there's some legitimate questions. I think the Chargers, all these, if you're playing Madden, I think maybe the Chargers might win the AFC West. But I think you're going to be surprised at how Khalil Mack being 32 after missing 9 games last year, how he's not going to be the same guy. You take a player away from the Patriots organization. We just talked about how good Bill Belichick of defensive mind he is. Put him in LA and see how well he does. If he produces at the same level, great. But how many times have we seen that? It's very few and far between. And then I'm telling everybody who will listen, and I'm sorry, Denver Gator, I think you're in for a long season with a rookie head coach and high expectations. I think it's going to be a bad year here. I'm going to get some of these comments out of the way, and then I want to touch base on that 10-7. I'm going to touch base on that here in a little bit. Here.
I am so surprised they said 10-7. I don't know if they just saying that for views or whatever, but
it's kind of Kaes. You tell me because you had a whole show on it. Like I said, I recommend everybody. I should put a link to that show because I had a lot of comments. Look, bro, I had great comments by the way. On there, but was he just like shock value? Was he just being like Stephen A. Smith or Colin Cowherd and just trying to shock people into?
Do you remember what teams they said we lost to? I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like I said, I'm gonna go back.
Okay.
Yeah, he had every single AFC West team splitting with each other. So there was 3 losses right there. I mean, he got off to a bad start at the very beginning. He had us losing to the Cardinals because quote, the Cardinals start fast, as if he's never heard of Andy Reid or seen Andy Reid's record the first game of the season, especially with the Chiefs. So he had us losing to the Cardinals. He had us losing to, I'm not even going to remember all the teams, but
okay. Tampa Bay and Buffalo were losses. I remember that.
Probably the Bengals too, then, right?
Yeah. It was a loss against the Bengals.
So basically, they're saying we're going to go down to, or instead of being maybe 1 or 2, they're saying we're going to go down probably 7th in rank by.
If I remember correctly, he said that we would be 10-7. We would lose the last game of the season against the Raiders and miss the playoffs.
Yeah, he had us playing Week 18 against the Raiders, win and get into the playoffs, lose and go home, and losing that game.
So much.
I think the guy.
I don't even know where to start.
I think the guy was just trying to get. I don't believe the guy really believed that. I think it was just. Type of statements, but.
You could have at least been more believable than that, though. 10-7 saying that we're not making it to the playoffs. Is he like? Are you stupid? Like it's just like, man. This is why I go back earlier about the Tyreek thing. Okay, you need to be noticed. That's fine. It's your job. Podcast, news, whatever you're doing, you need to be noticed. But there are other ways to go by that. Be more honest on that. 10-7. Like, it's just too much. And then with the Tyreek, I wanted to stay. Facts. Like, what are you doing, man? You don't have to do any of that to get noticed. Just say, hey, I did a few rounds with Tua, and we might win some games. That's all you had to say. You didn't have to say anything more than that. Going out of your way and saying we're going to lose to all the best teams in the AFC is purely disrespectful.
We need
That's
to
basically what y'all was telling me, that they said we're going to lose to all the best teams in the AFC.
We need to get a show with Big Chief Shawn, Big Chief Shawn, Tyreek Hill, and Lamar Jackson. We need.
They wouldn't want me on there. They wouldn't want me on there.
I'm going to get some comments, and then I want to touch base on that 10-7. I want to spend a lot of time on that here in a second. But I want to go over some of these comments. I got really behind here. Funk has some great comments. The new overtime rule is stupid. They should do a full quarter. I couldn't agree more, Funk. I couldn't agree more. The Chiefs lost to the Patriots in sudden death. I finally got that. I did not get that damn bug. The Chiefs lost to the Patriots in sudden death. Chiefs fans are upset. They didn't change.
We got over.
Yeah, we got over.
Dan, is it really a fly, or is that drug-induced hallucination?
It's not drugs.
Hey, I want to say I agree with this. I don't think we need to go full quarter. I mean, 2-minute warning is supposed to be sudden death. And I don't care how many times you push it back, it just doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Like, even if you say, well, we both need to be able to score a touchdown and then kick a field goal, you're still making it a sudden death. So no matter how many times you do that, that's all you're doing is you're arguing over sudden death. Why can't the 2-minute warning go back to being sudden death? Your offense and defense perform. The issue of fairness has to do with the coin flip.
And
even adding more periods doesn't change that.
And the opposing team gets called a coin flip. I think that's fair. That's fair. Buffalo gets coin flip right. Maybe they win the game.
Why doesn't people believe in defense? Get a better defense. Look at me. Get a better defense. That's all you got to do.
Wink here has a great comment. It's the Chargers, but they actually have to do it this time. They got that. There's no doubt that they have talent, but they people were putting them in the Super Bowl last year. People are putting them in the Super Bowl this year. They'll probably win about 8-9 games and miss the playoffs. That's just what they do. I love when people literally about to freak out over a comment. That shit is my cocaine. Funk's always on fire, man. Funk's always on fire. Oh, I get it because you're always around yourself. You're always a freak out. Good grief, buddy. What happened when I was getting food? Man, we're having some fun here, man. We're having some fun here, Slasher. I pushed the button. LML, some people's children. Yeah, it's interesting watching guys with small balls trying to push buttons. Oh, damn. Man, civil football talk. Yeah, we're just kind of getting raw today, man. Slasher. Usually it's civil here. Usually it's civil. We're getting a little rowdy today. Still, it's civil, funky. You know, a diehard fan to get about their team. It's always kosher. Yeah, Gator. Some people get stupid and hyper focused on one game because it's the only game, the only time they ever possibly go on a pointless tangent. Cards starting off hot. That's a healthy nuke. Try starting off with a 6-game suspension. Red Sea filled with tears. That's the guy I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
Hopkins isn't even playing in that game. Is seriously, is DeAndre Hopkins? You could argue he's the best player on the Cardinals team. He's the best player on the team. Yeah. And then Kyler Murray, he's sitting out because he wants Mahomes type of money. I remember Red Sea on this show, and kudos to Red Sea. He had a lot of great comments, but he was on the show trying to tell me that he was willing to take a hometown discount, and I'm like, no, he's not. He's trying to get paid, and he should try to get paid.
Not what he's asking for.
Well, I'll debate that. He should ask for that. No. And you know, seriously, he'll probably end up making more per year than Mahomes, but does he deserve it? No. Ask
he's just like Chris Jones. He's just like Chris Jones, always want more reward than what he deserves.
I got Brandon Tillman, man. I don't recognize the name, man. So welcome to the show, man. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You like the Ravens? I'll be honest with you, man. I am floored by how many people think that the Ravens are the number 2 team in the AFC. Now, I personally today got them winning the AFC North, but I'm not sure that they're the number 2 team, man. Man, let's see here. He has, how are you doing? My name is Brandon. I just like to know, is this just the only Kansas City channel or any other team can be on this channel? Brandon, I break down all 32 teams. Today, we're having a Chiefs foursome. We're just all Chiefs fans. I'm a Chiefs fan, but we talk all 32 teams here. Yeah. You want to talk about the Baltimore Ravens? Side note, I'm showing my age here. I grew up in Baltimore. I actually went to Baltimore Colts games. We moved the same year the Colts did. So showing my age, but I actually do have family in Baltimore. So you want to come on? You want to talk Baltimore Ravens? I can talk Ravens with you. I actually have some family that still lives in Baltimore, believe it or not. I called Carr a top 10 QB. He would be a top 2 QB. Yeah, absolutely, 100% correct. Brandon to our team. Yeah, we got lots of fans here. I got a nice following from the Detroit Lions. By the way, Lions fans are fantastic.
Yeah.
Lots of Lions fans, man. Funk's one of them, as you can tell from the really cool. I love that helmet here. Hey man, we can talk Ravens. We can talk.
I'm not knocking the Ravens. I'm not saying the Ravens are gonna be a bad team. I'm just saying that comparison of all the other teams in the AFC, they have a lot of work ahead of them. Y'all gotta at least admit that when it comes to the Ravens, they have a lot of work ahead of them. You know, Lamar Jackson still needs to lead them to something big, like give them that game of confidence to where they know they're making the right decision on backing his plan in the future. They haven't even given him a contract yet. That tell you right there that they're scared. It's on him to prove that he's the guy that all you guys are hyping him up to be. I mean, hell, even Vic gave Reed a great season to show everybody, well, I can be a quarterback. That's all I need to see from him. I'm not saying that Lamar Jackson is just pure garbage, but if you're going to claim that you're the best and you want to say that you want to be the best, first of all, you got to beat Mahomes. You still haven't done that. Number 2, you got to do something more than your run. You have to prove to these people that if we stop you from running, it doesn't matter. Because it's like that with Mahomes. It's like that with Allen. You can stop them from running, but are you going to stop them from winning? And that's the thing. If you have that big of a deficiency as a quarterback, you have a lot to work on you. That's like a running back who has a problem from having speed problems. We're having issues with that. And that's the issue with me.
The next time Big Chief Shawn's on the show, he'll have a Lamar Jackson jersey.
You know,
never.
I just want to say, I joke about Lamar being the best running back in the NFL, but, you know, to kind of push back on Shawn there a little bit, one, we were talking earlier about Trent Dilfer, right? So Lamar doesn't have to be Patrick Mahomes to win or win a Super Bowl.
Best defenses ever created, you know that, Kaes.
But at the same time, you still don't have to be at that.
They were scoring defenses in all time, man. Come on, man.
But you still don't have to be at that level. The other thing is, again,
and Trent Dilfer had his career high that season. What do you mean?
Shawn, just let me talk, and then you can respond after I get my points out, please.
Oh, I got you.
I think the biggest thing, though, is like you're reacting like it's all Lamar. For me, and I'm sorry if I'm putting words in your mouth, but for me, there is a huge difference when you look at the NFL head coaches, especially the ones in the AFC. And there's a huge drop off between John Harbaugh and Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott is a defensive coach, first off. And I'm not saying he's a bad coach, but he's not even close to the level of John Harbaugh. So when Gooch and I are talking about what he was able to do to get that team to 7-9 and only be 2 games out of first place in that division, despite all the injuries they had, John Harbaugh and his staff is a great staff. And so I think that's the biggest thing for me. And so not only that, but you do have the Bills losing Brian Dable. So we don't know what their offense is going to look like. And that's not a shot at Josh Allen. It's just the fact that McDermott is a defensive coach. He's nowhere near John Harbaugh level. And we don't know what their offense is going to look like without Dable there. But we do know what the Ravens did with adversity last year. It speaks volumes to John Harbaugh. And even as Gooch said, with Lamar out, Hundley did not look bad. That team didn't look like it really skipped a beat without him. My biggest question is how the offense moves forward, getting rid of Hollywood and you know, having Bateman as the main wide receiver and being so tight end focused. But you know what? It could still be fun to watch. I think it could even be more fun to watch if they had a Kyle Shanahan-esque guy in there over Roman. Because to me, Roman, not Lamar, Greg Roman has been their weakest link from what I've seen as a Chiefs fan. It's Greg Roman who always tries to get into a I don't want to say it on here, but he starts trying to make Lamar look like Patrick Mahomes, and that's when their offense usually goes to trash. And so for me, you know, it's a Greg Roman issue, not so much Lamar. I get what you're saying about he needs to prove it, but again, he doesn't need to prove a whole lot because, you know, one guy can't do it all, and Trent Dilfer did win a Super Bowl. So, I mean, that's all I got to say.
Okay, and I see what you're saying about with the Trent Dilfer analogy. I get that. Hell, Rex Grossman went to a Super Bowl. I get what you're saying, but you have to understand. You're talking about a rarity. That was one of the greatest defenses assembled in its time. That 99 Ravens defense was rare. You don't really get those like that to where they could handle what the offense could. That was a rarity. And what I'm saying is, you're saying not to put everything on Lamar. It's not on Lamar, but we do that with Patrick Mahomes. How is that fair for us to do that to Mahomes, but not to do that to Lamar? Why is it that when we're down and we having the problems, we can go to Mahomes, but it's stupid to say, don't worry about it if Lamar can't? That's crazy. What coach would be confident in a quarterback that you could say that about?
We're not comparing quarterbacks. We're talking about the Ravens as a team.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm going at, is that this team is only as good as the guy that they know that's going to take them to the other end. Tampa Bay ain't confident because they think they badass, because they know they got that quarterback that tells them they are. That's the same thing that Lamar needs to earn. That's what I'm saying. Y'all keep putting faith in him on the base of these little things that y'all keep booking up. Oh, well, Trent Dilfer did it. Well, remember, Trent Dilfer did have one of his best seasons. That's like saying, well, Nick Foles is top level too. Okay, but he did what he played well. That's all you needed to do, especially when you had a defense like he did. What I'm saying with Lamar is when everybody's putting their faith on this team to be better, especially when you're talking about coaching and all this kind of stuff, and you not knowing where your quarterback is at, that's just questioning me. I'm not saying that like he won't get better. I said I'm sticking with what I say. They do have their work cut out for them. You talk about what they did about losing all those games, and they even won it without him. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm just saying they have a long road ahead of them. I'm gonna
interject here. When you talk about Lamar Jackson, first of all, week 2 last year, Kansas City was up 35 to 24 in the fourth quarter, and the Ravens won that game 38-24. 2 fourth quarter touchdowns, won that game over Kansas City. So the Ravens did beat Patrick Mahomes. Lamar Jackson did have a great game. I actually am interested to see more on the defensive side because they lose longtime defensive coordinator Wink Martindale. He's going to New York. They're replacing him with the guy who took over defensive coordinator at Michigan. He was the linebackers coach. Left take over as defensive coordinator at Michigan. Michigan's defense improved dramatically. He comes back. He's a new Ravens coordinator. Because he was with the Ravens organization, I don't think there's going to be that much of a hiccup. I'll be kind of interested to see how that transition occurs. But Brandon, I think you're right. And I was kind of surprised, Kaes, you brought up a great point. I think Greg Roman is a problem. That loss against Tennessee in the playoffs, Lamar Jackson throws the ball 59 times. What the hell is he doing? And then let's see here. The Cowboys fan base said they had a bad offensive coordinator. Do not run the ball. We are looking for a offensive coordinator. I'll throw the ball instead of running the ball, but balance. That's what you get with Mike McCarthy. He wants to throw the ball, and the Cowboys were built to run the ball under Jason Garrett. You get McCarthy in. They have a power running game. Now they have a passing game. Shoot Goff went to a Super Bowl, dude threw 1 touchdown the entire. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. I'm not a Saints fan, but the Saints should have advanced to the Super Bowl. So Chief Funky stirred enough goodies. The Ravens are going to be good because the receiving core is good. I trust the receiving core. Mark Andrews is their number 1 guy. You get Bateman. I'm drawing a blank on the other guy off the top of my head. I know they got a speed guy from Texas that doesn't do a full route tree.
They still have what color is their one running back, right?
J.K. Dobbins, he was injured in preseason. He's going to come back. If he comes back at 100%, he was really. I thought he was going to have a huge year. If you're in the fantasy football,
that's what I'm saying. I'm not knocking Ravens. Like I said, I'm not knocking Ravens. Said they were a bad team. I just said from the. And I'll give them props for a little adversity for the 9 wins or whatever. We did it before losing Mahomes. We had to win games and come out through it. I'm just saying they have a long road ahead of them because how better they've gotten, a lot of other teams have gotten better as well. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. They have a very difficult schedule, and I think a lot of those games are going to be grit down to the wire. I don't think that the Ravens are at that level yet where they can confidently just breeze through a season like we can, or like maybe the Bills can, or maybe like Tampa Bay can. You know what I mean? But they will win games. I'm just saying that if Lamar is really trying to prove that he's good, and I'm not saying he's not, that's what I mean. Because if he can say that I'm good and I'm going to be better, him being better is a threat to the entire league. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's just perplexing to me that everybody loves his running, but nobody gets on him about throwing better. And I want him to be just like, oh man, you know what? I'm tired of depending on my legs to save my butt. I can throw. Oh, I'm gonna learn. If he can do that, he is actually a real threat. And I'll recant my stuff. I'll back up all that stuff about him being better than Allen and all that. But when I see Allen being able to be pressured, run the ball when he needs to, throw the ball to the right people to score. And I've never seen Lamar do that in a game before. And y'all could like all I'm saying is a coordinator can plan a win without Lamar. I doubt that the Bills will ever do that without Mahomes. Allen or the Chiefs will do that without Mahomes.
Well, I know that
in most cases.
I know that I know that the Bills, because they're replacing Brian Dable, they said that one of the things that they want to do is have Josh Allen run less. I don't think that's the plan in Baltimore, but I'm really surprised that Kaes and Brandon hit on something that I've believed for a long time, and that's hold on here. I lost the comment here, but with Greg Roman, I think that's been an issue. I think they should do something a little different. Yeah, here's the comment right here. You take Andy Reid off the Kansas City Chiefs, send in Greg Roman. How different would the offense be?
It'll be the same. Yeah. It'll be the same. It'll be ran a little bit different, but you still have Mahomes throwing those passes to those receivers.
You know,
we would still have made.
I almost think in a way that it might be better for the Chiefs because Andy Reid is so run adverse, and Greg Roman would actually have us doing more. I believe, under center play action pass, which would make our offense less predictable.
What? Dude, that is right. I didn't even think about that, bro.
If we run the ball,
I swear I didn't even think about that. There's a lot of times we could have ran the ball.
We win that game. We win that game. We run the ball more, but we don't get there without Andy Reid's. I mean, this is
get out of here, man.
All right. Yeah, man. Yeah. Tillman, please join us. I talk all 32 teams, and you're 100% correct because Greg Roman was the offensive coordinator here. We'd be more of a run first team, but that's something I've always thought was kind of a thorn in the Ravens side is that I don't think Roman's done a good enough job as offensive coordinator. I'm really surprised Kaes picked up on that. That's a great. I'm calling it great because I agree with it. So let's see here. Yeah, the Ravens had they lost J.K. Dobbins, and then they lost his backup in preseason. If Dobbins is back 100%, he stays healthy, he's going to be a really, really good running back. If you do fantasy football, J.K. Dobbins, you want to get him early. He's going to probably have about 350 touches this year.
And it seems like they could have put me in at running back, and I would have still been able to get 4 or 5 yards. I think the more amazing thing, though, and I would have gotten injured, the next game because that seemed to be what happened. But I think the defensive side, their defense got so decimated. And that's why I think that these guys come back healthy this next year because it was just utterly impressive what they were able to do there.
Yeah, they signed Justin Houston. I think it was 2 days before the start of the season, and
did they re-sign him? Did they?
They haven't re-signed him. The plan is to have their first-round pick from last year, the pick they got from the Orlando Brown trade. He ended up changing his name. It was Odafe. Now it's Jason Owa. For those of you who don't remember him from the draft, I mean, this guy looks like this guy looks like a Greek god. He's 250, ran a 4.36 at the combine. But his final year at Penn State was that COVID year with 7 games. Here's a guy who plays defensive line, runs a 4.36, didn't get a sack. To me, that raises a red flag, and that's the reason why, even though he looks like, he should be the first player chosen in the draft, he was 30th or 31st. He did have a big play. He forced a CEH fumble that we talked about earlier that gave the Ravens the ball back in week 2, where the Ravens did beat Kansas City. So who wins the AFC South and why? You know what? Well, all right. Denver Gator, you asked for it. I'll give it to you, and I'll start off here. I got the Indianapolis Colts. I think that with Matt Ryan, they're the best team in this division. I think Tennessee is built around Derrick Henry, but one thing is that with NFL history, if you look at big running backs, once they get to a certain point, they can't stay healthy. That's just been true in NFL history. Here in Kansas City, we had a guy by the name of Christian Okoye, had 2-3 years as good as anybody, just couldn't stay healthy. Tennessee had a running back by the name of Eddie George. His 5th season in the league, had 400 touches. Wasn't the same guy for season number 6. I think it's Colts, and I think it's I seriously, I think they win this division by maybe 2 or 3 games. They're easily my number 1 team. Kaes, AFC South, and a trick question for you, one you didn't prepare for. Denver Gator wants it, so we're going to give it to him. Who you got, man?
Let me be a politician here real quickly and go back and say that the Ravens did give Justin Houston that same tender that we gave to Melvin Ingram. So if he doesn't sign with another team, in the next 3 weeks, he goes back to the Ravens.
Oh, really?
Or he doesn't play at all. So
I thought he was a free agent.
No, when the Chiefs offered that tender to Melvin Ingram, that scarcely used tender, the Ravens also used the tender on Justin Houston. So it's that exact same one that we would have had Ingram back that they offered to Justin Houston. So I think it's like July 20th, 21st, or so that he has to sign with another team, or he either plays with the Ravens or nobody else if he's not signed by then. But to answer your question, every year we wait for Derrick Henry to have his breakdown year, just like we wait for Tom Brady to. So I can understand a little hesitation there, but I think anybody who watched the show last night would be able to tell you that I think that the Colts, I'm with you, Dan. I think the Colts are the team to beat. They to me, they looked like one of the scariest teams last year, other than that they were kind of like the Broncos, right? It was like, this team looks legit, except for they need a quarterback, right? And so I actually think that Matt Ryan, I forget what the analytics stat is, that seems to suggest he's going to fit right in with the Colts, and he's not going to be the best quarterback, but the talents that he does bring I think it's going to blend best with what they're already doing with Jonathan Taylor, that offensive line, and a pretty good defense. So I'm going Colts as well.
All right, Big Chief Shawn, are you going to make it 3 for 3 here? We're throwing something crazy at you. But this is how the show works. If you have a question, you have a comment, we have an answer. Big Chief Shawn, AFC South. Who do you got?
South. I mean,
yes.
I mean, the simple answer is, God, I want to say the Titans so bad. I do.
You want to say the Titans?
I do.
All right.
I have to. I'm going. I was gonna get on that coach train because everything Kaes says, he's right. I mean, that's all they needed was a quarterback, and
the number one team in AFC last year was Tennessee.
That's what I'm saying. That coaching, he may be reckless, but he's fearless though. And that Tennessee Titans team, and y'all right about Henry. He's a big guy. He won't last long, but and that was the only problem with Tennessee. They needed quarterback as bad as the Colts did. And I know they still don't have one, but that coaching, man, it seems like he just finds a way, man. I have to say the Titans.
You're going to say, let me throw a curveball at you here. Give me Ryan Tannehill, Lamar Jackson. Which one?
Tannehill.
Yeah, all right. Gooch, I according to my screen, the sound's in and out, so I see that you're connected. Just sounds off. Hopefully you can hear us, man. AFC South, I'd love to know your opinion, man. Who do you got?
AFC South. I'm not going to be like my partner, and I'm not jumping on the Colts train against so shocked 40-year-old Matty Ice.
Ooh. So
I think his prime is past. I'm going to say the Texans.
Oh, wow. Oh, man. What a curveball. Give us the Houston Texans. We have
Hold up, Dan. I think my audio is broken.
My name is Steven, so let me channel my inner Stephen A. Smith here to Tyreek. Stay off the weed!
Alex.
All right.
He said, come on.
I want to hear this.
I gotta hear this.
Give it to us. Why would the Houston Texans win this division? Let's hear it.
Texans text. Wow.
For all the reasons that y'all think the Colts or the Titans are gonna win. Now I would put one of the things that people don't look. There's always King Henry, and that's a right choice if you think, because nobody does play action better than Tannehill when King Henry's running.
Man.
You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Colts have an awesome offensive line. They've got the pieces. I just don't have faith in Matty Ice. I think his best years are in Atlanta. That's just me personally. But you wouldn't be wrong picking them either because the experience. Obviously, they win games. And they won them with Carson Wentz. So why not with Matty Ice?
All right.
What people forget or people don't seem to think about in the midst of the fact that the Texans are a dumpster fire in the front office, Davis Webb was one of the best quarterbacks in football last year, and he didn't get a nod of recognition. He was better than a lot of people because Houston, everybody was worried about the Deshaun thing. The front office is a dumpster fire. Nobody noticed that Webb was keeping them in games when he really shouldn't have been. And I personally think if I was going to bet on somebody to make a turnaround, it would be them with that kid.
If you've watched my show or if you guys seen some of my previous shows, Davis Mills, the third round
Mills,
pick.
Mills. I'm sorry, not Webb. Mills.
That's all right. We all know who you're talking about. He was third round pick out of Stanford. Would have been the number one pick in this year's draft if he stayed in school. The only thing kept him out of the first round was he had injuries. But if you watched him last year, if you watch this show, I am very high on Davis Mills. The arm talent is amazing. So you're expecting him to take the next step up, and that's the reason why you got Houston Texans winning the division.
I really do. I mean, because I am an underdog guy. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like when Mahomes came out, nobody liked the pick. And I loved it because it was everything like there. But you are one of the few. Like anybody realistically, and I'm not going to say you didn't, but anybody realistically that saw the Mahomes pick and didn't think, "Oh crap, we should have got Deshaun," really is a liar.
Well, I hated it straight up. I hated it straight up. I was not. I did not.
And it's for that reason why I talk crap about Alex is the reason why they wanted Deshaun because he was exactly like him. They had the kind of similar play style, and you know I bash Alex for fun, of course, but
right.
But you know, but that.
But I think it's the guys who are rough around the edges. Davis Mills, Patrick Mahomes, Brett Favre, Joe Montana, who wasn't perfect when he came out. No. Those guys that are rough seem to be the ones that take the biggest leap. Yeah.
There's like some background or some sort of weird noise coming through on your adjustment that you can do with the sound, but
you fix that, Gooch, and I'll give a 2-word rebuttal to your Texans pick. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Lovie Smith.
Oh, wow. I love you.
Really, man? You really had to say it like that, man.
Hey, Denver Gator, you asked for it. You got it. You got 2 people for the Colts, one for the Texans, and a surprise pick. And I wish Alex was here because Alex would love to hear it. I'm going to get through some comments. And there's one thing I want to touch before I get off of here. If Kansas City runs the ball in AFC Championship.
Thank you, Brandon. Brandon, you are a genius, my dude.
Yes. It was Oa who forced the CEH fumble. Funk, you are right because him and Parsons both ran 4.3s. Funk ran, everybody at that, yeah. But there's a clip of him running. The dude's shredded. I mean, most defensive linemen who are like 260 don't look shredded with like 6-pack abs and like that. Dude, Oa looks like he could play like wide receiver. Nigerian Nightmare versus Smiling Assassin. That's true. That's true. Thanks for bringing that up, Denver Gator. The Ravens got the third easiest schedule. Yeah, they have an easy schedule this year.
I didn't know that.
Play schedule. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Denver, please tell us about this hit you speak of. Nobody wants to hear about that, Funk. Nobody wants to hear about that. Lamar just needs to add his own place in a great Roman playbook, make it more deep passes. You're 100% correct about this, Brandon. The issue, and it's widely known around the NFL, is that he actually throws the ball deep really well, but you throw those out routes outside the hashes, he struggles big time. And that's something that he needs to improve on, or they can do what they have done and just eliminate those plays out of playbook. So we'll have to find out what happens. Greg Roman's playbook only paying on tight ends and running backs. He look at his playbook, no throwing to receivers. They go deep, but that's pretty much it. Bateman's going to have a bigger impact for this team to be as good as or actually to compete with Kansas City. Denver Gator says, my prediction, Julio Jones signs a smaller deal with the Colts. They'll reunite it. It feels so good.
Feels so good.
Mills to the rescue. I have been very high on Davis Mills. I don't have them winning the division, but I'm very high on Davis Mills. I think the Houston Texans are in really good shape quarterback-wise. Brandon says, thank you. I'll be back. Talk some more football. I hope you continue to come back, man. I want to have fans from all 32 fan bases. That's kind of that's kind of the whole point here. Alex would be freaking F. Yeah, he would be. I wish he was here, man. RH, I don't know which one of you guys is doing the comment here. It's you. Okay. I just say I'm not anti-Titans. I like Tannehill. I just like the receiver. I like the receivers they add in. Vrabel as top 5 coach. I'm very high on Vrabel.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying about the Titans. Vrabel is just he's it's like he's still learning to be a top tier coach, but his coaching style, that fearlessness, that wins in games, important games. Since he's been the coach,
so let me put a capper on Kaes's and your statement, fearlessness, and Kaes's Lovie Smith. There are 32 head coaches in the NFL.
Okay.
14 of them have Super Bowl rings.
All right.
Technically, Vrabel has one.
That's what I said. Vrabel has one.
Oh yeah.
Lovie Smith, I don't know if he has one, but he's been to a Super Bowl. There's only 14 coaches currently that have been to a Super Bowl. Lovie Smith is one of them.
Nice.
Lovie Smith, yeah, he was the coach with Chicago. I want to say it was Super Bowl 46. They lost against the Colts, but I know he's been to a Super Bowl, and I know he hasn't won one. But I like the move. I like the move promoting him to head coach, and I think the future is really good for Houston. But I'll be honest, I would be floored if they won the division this early. The one thing by the way, yes, that hit does hurt. It was a great hit. Thanks guys for bringing it up. But one thing I definitely want to touch base on, and that's one thing that over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to give a 101 video on sports betting because not a lot of people know about it. But one of the things I pride myself on is that I put my money where my mouth is. And one of the things that I want to bring up, even though I know you guys aren't into sports betting, I'm going to throw out some sports betting knowledge here, and I want to get your opinion on it. The over-under for the Kansas City Chiefs is 10.5 wins. I got to know here. Let's just say you're in Vegas. You're going to bet on Kansas City Chiefs because we're all Chiefs fans. You're going to throw some money down. 10.5 wins. Kaes, I'm going to start with you, man. 10.5 wins. Am I betting over or under?
I'm going to say easily over. Again, this and it's not even so much his Chiefs picks, right? The idiot from NFL Network had 10 wins, right? So I got to go over. There's no reason to not expect it at least 11 or 12. I think Mahomes and Reed get you that, even with all the question marks on a very young defense.
All right. A big Chief Shawn. I'm wondering, are you over 10.5 here, or are you under 10.5?
Huh. Let's see. Let me think. What did the Chiefs have to say they could go over 10 wins? Let's see. They have Andy Reid as a coach, Eric Bieniemy as a backup, Travis Kelce, Scanlon, McKinnon, Patrick Mahomes. I think I'll just say over to be safe. Of course, it's over. It's over. Like 10 wins. Look, you can't be arrogant in football. That is a downfall, especially in this sport. Because every other sport, you always get a chance to, get another 2 out of 3 chance. But when it comes to football, yeah, any team can surprise you. But at this point, where we're at and with the team that we have and the collective of players, it would literally be an insult to say that Kansas City doesn't get more than 10 wins. More, you know what I mean? Like to limit us to only 10 wins, seeing that Reed had us in double-digit season wins, seasons since he's been our coach is just the insult to not only Patrick Mahomes but to Andy Reid's hard work on this team. What he turned us into a 2-14 laugh, a joke, into Super Bowl caliber, AFC Championship caliber team. That's just no, man. Obviously over.
All right. Hey, Gooch. So I don't know if you're what your knowledge is on sports betting, not on sports betting, but I got 10.5 wins for the Kansas City Chiefs. Are you taking over? Or are you taking under?
Well, I'm going to throw an interesting little stat out there for anybody that's watching, and you'll be able to tell my answer based on the little stat I give you. In the last 12 years, so from 2010, the Chiefs have had 10 wins or less 3 times. So Andy's good for 10 in his sleep, I think.
All right, I'll go back this up with a trick question. When's the last time Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs had under 10 wins? Do you remember?
His second year here, we went 11-5 the first year and 9-7 the second year.
Yeah, you got it. I thought I'd trip you up. Denver Gator says, how much does it cost for the Chiefs over 10.5? It's actually funny. This is very variable, but I was using Caesars, and Caesars has it negative 115. There's another casino that's located in Reno I may be traveling to recently that has the over-under at 11, but it's plus 115. So for those of you who don't do sports betting, negative 115 means you have to wager $115 to win 100, or plus 115 means you wager 100 to win 115. But the point of this question is I wanted to find out, now keep in mind we're all Chiefs fans, but I personally was really surprised, even with the free agent defections, that this number was 10.5, even though Atlantis has 11. Last year it was 12.5, by the way. So Vegas and most quote-unquote football experts think the Chiefs are about 2 wins less. And then we see on the NFL Network that Clown had 10-7. So Funk says 10.5. Definitely take the under. Funk also has on Mills, actually had Tampa drafting him at the end of the first, sit behind Tom. I wouldn't have minded that at all either. The only thing that kept him out of being a top 10 pick was his injury history. So, this is the comment to Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel said that he would cut off his junk to win a Super Bowl. He's won 2. Overhits.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's why I like him, man. Like
overhits every year. Yeah. Last year it didn't. I bet on Kansas City over 12.5, and that Bengals loss put them at 12. So, but I did bet on the Chiefs to win the AFC West, and I did win that. So, sounds stupid to have 10.5 as a base in a 17-game season, especially with the prior records. Yeah, it really does. I found one casino with 11, but universally the number is 10.5. And
so basically what you're trying to tell me is that Tyreek, Sorensen, what was the linebacker's name?
We got Hitchens,
and Matthew were worth 2 wins.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the schedules is a brutal schedule. I mean, don't get me wrong, but when the NFL Network,
the schedule has been, ever since Mahomes came, the schedule's been brutal for the Chiefs.
Yeah, the schedule's been brutal, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it's insane of Andy Reid's dominance over the AFC West, and for the NFL Network to not get that, what was it, 3-3 against AFC West is what they pointed out. I thought it was just silly, but if you do sports betting, Big Chief Shawn, I don't know if you're on the Kansas side or the Missouri side. For those of you who don't know, Kansas just legalized sports betting for the state of Kansas, so you can go ahead and do some sports betting. It's not set up yet, But I have a feeling before the season starts, it will be set up. So if you are on the Kansas side, you can actually bet on this. And I encourage people, now keep in mind I'm a Chiefs fan, to bet on over 10.5. The bet on over 10.5.
I saw you in the show last night when we were talking, and of course me and Kaes and the idiot that predicted the Chiefs to go 10-7. For those of you guys watching, Dan threw out like Andy Reid's dominance over the AFC West. Since he took over, he's 37-13. Almost 75% of the games that he's played that he's coached in the AFC West, we've won.
So the answer is last year, it was my fault. It was my fault. You can blame that loss on the Bengals on me. And when they started off 3-4, I actually ripped up my proverbial bet slip and threw it away. When they lost to Tennessee 27-3, I was like, okay, there's no way that they're going to win the rest of it. And then they should have won the rest of it. They should have beat the Bengals. The Bengals got very lucky twice last year. And
you can blame Kaes for that too.
Yeah, I don't see the Bengals beating Kansas City. Wink, I got 12.5 at Caesars. I got 12.5 at Caesars. Depending on which location you go to, I was in Vegas, and I got 12.5 at Caesars. But different locations are going to give you different numbers, and I'm going to do like a 101 gambling tutorial video. I'll have it released here in the next couple of weeks. I'll kind of go over the detail. Because different sites will give you different numbers, and that's something you got to shop around for. Tyreek was worth a bit more than 2 wins. Tyron, half a game early in the season, and Hitchens minus half a game with Soren minus 2 games. Vegas is sitting with a 10.5 with Hill departure because overhype says he's worth 2 games. Vegas wants you to bet, so people buy into the hype. Kansas City decline exactly, and look, I'm biased, Denver Gator, but I think people are going to be really disappointed when Kansas City is doing the same thing that New England's done over the years for 20 years and be successful. They lose star players, they replace them with younger players, and the train just keeps going and going. So
well, and the thing is, Dan, is like it's like we all suffer from recency bias.
Right.
Like before Tyreek Hill exploded on the scene, does anybody remember when Mahomes started and every single game it was like, crap, he hit 7 different receivers, 9 different receivers, 11 different receivers. You know what I'm saying? The Chiefs were still winning. I mean, I think Tyreek is special once again. He's special. I get it. But if you have to, if you're sitting there me and Kaes talked about this a lot off screen. It's like, would you rather try to defend Travis and Kelsey, or would you rather try to coach against Juju, MVS, McCole Hardman, Sky Moore, even Josh Gordon, or whoever they decide to keep? Now you've got 7 weapons, including the guys in the backfield, and you don't know where the ball is going. That actually would keep me up more at night than thinking, oh, we just need to double Tyreek and Travis, because those other guys, I mean, if they catch it, it'll be luck. And or if Mahomes throws it to them.
Well, I've always said that the number 1 receiver on the Kansas City Chiefs wears 87. You know, good luck stopping him. I mean, over the last several years, he's just been. I mean, he's the best receiver. He's the best tight end in the NFL. So.
And I agree with that. And I also think that this switch, if Andy does it right, and we've got the Great Wall of Mahomes where they could run the ball now. And I think this switch to maybe a little more patience, more options besides Tyreek Hill is going to elongate Travis's career, because he's not going to be taking as many hits. He's going to be freed up a little bit more. He's not going to be the focal point because you've got those big guns that can run over the middle with Travis. MVS can take the top off. He's not 4.22 like Tyreek, but he's 4.3.
No, I agree with all of this. You know, I mean, you're not going to get a guy who's going to have – you're not going to get a wide receiver besides Kelsey. It's going to have over 100 catches. I think Tyreek Hill, off the top of my head, I think had 111. But you're not going to see that, but you're going to see a lot more diversity. Brandon has Kansas Chiefs need to be more of a 3-4 defense, but add more 4-3. And then Kaes brought up this is a good point. Teams play a base about a quarter of the time. I don't think that really matters much, to be honest. I would like to have some more versatility in general, though, having players that play to run in the pass well. No, you're 100% correct. The 4-3-3-4, that's kind of a thing of the past. Teams basically play like a base nickel. Steve Spagnuolo's style of defense has always been a base 4-man front, put pressure on 4 with some blitzes every now and then. It was one thing that you had on your show last night, and we didn't talk about too much, but how fast will these rookies get involved with the defense? In the past, Steve Spagnuolo does not like to play rookies, and he's got several that may have to play this season. So,
and I actually think, and I'm going to reassure you a little bit, because I think there's going to be some names that we're used to hearing that don't make this team, because every single guy on the defensive side of the ball that they drafted, you hear the same thing: quality guy, willing tackler. And they're going to rally to the ball. I don't think business decisions are going to be in this group's mindset. I think snot bubbles are going to be in their mindset, because every highlight from all the way through every single round, you see these guys laying hits on people and running up to tackle ball carriers. And I think there's going to be a certain little bit of youthful aggressiveness that's going to be added, which is going to help us out.
Oh, I 100% agree. I think if you look at what the Chiefs let walk, what they got rid of on the defensive side, it was clear that they let go guys who were making business decisions, who were not tackling or good tacklers, and were not playing aggressive. And so, yeah, I think 100% there. It's a matter of whether Spags actually plays the young guys, but they have guys who can tackle now. They have young guys who have a fire and a great attitude, and I think that those things will make up for their lack of experience, and it'll be a matter of, will Spags play them, and will that allow them early on, while they're having communication issues, will that help them still? Can they play above those struggles even with the communication issues? But at the same time, we had a veteran staff who played together, and they still had communication issues last year. So, I mean, I don't think they can do much worse. It's just a matter of, will Spags play them, or are we going to see a lot of Jermaine Carter Jr. instead of Leo Chanel? Are we going to see Bush in at safety instead of Brian Cook or one of the other guys? Is he going to go back to kind of doing that thing?
I don't think.
A great point.
I don't
comment.
think he's going to have. I don't think he's going to have a choice. I think Andy is going to make the decision for him, because I know Andy is prone to being loyal to his guys, but Andy also understands what's going on inside the building and what he hears. And he had a longtime defensive coordinator in Philly that was his best friend, and once it stopped working, he was gone. I think Andy gives you every single chance to prove you're good at your job until he can't defend you anymore. So I don't think Andy's going to let Spags do his Spags thing. I think Spags is on the hot seat, because there's a lot of defensive coordinators who are better than Spags that were available this year, and Andy didn't contact them. So I think he's like, I'm going to give Spags this one more chance. His contract's up after this year. If it doesn't fly this time, hey, it was great while it lasted. We won a Super Bowl. I got to get somebody in here who's going to make my defense a top 10.
Brian Flores.
This is also a great point. New defensive line coach Joe Collins, mainly coached in the 3-4. And then Funk, great comment, Funk. Base doesn't mean what you play most, and never has. Base equals foundation. Base is what everything's based off of. Technically, the way football's being changed, it's now really more 4-2-5 and 3-3-5 rather than 4-3 and 3-4. So you bring up a great point. Denver Gator has a really great question. I'm interested to know what Chiefs fans are thinking about the rookies, Karliftis, Sky Moore, and Leo Chenal. And I'm going to kick this off because the guy that I think will start before all of these guys is our 5th-round pick. I'm drawing a blank on his first name, but he's a massive left tackle out of Kentucky. Just massive dude, did not run well at the combine, was projected to be a guard. He's like 330, 335, just massive. And him at right tackle, and it looks like he may start day one, which would actually give the Chiefs, believe it or not, the heaviest and biggest offensive line in football. And I'm kind of excited because, I mean, last year, I think if we run the ball against the Bengals, we win that game. But I'm excited about all the rookies. I think first one's going to be our 5th-round pick. Big Chief Shawn, man. Hey, man, Denver Gator wants to know what do you think about our rookies? Which one are you excited about?
Oh, well, y'all know me. I'm a defensive head. I'm always going to be defense. I just love that side. It's called Lawless, man. I always believe a defensive powerhouse can change any dynamic of any team. I mean, look at Michael Parsons. He actually making the Cowboys look semi-serious, I guess. But, I mean, defense wins championships. That's not going to change in the world of football. And when you get yourself a nice little defensive core, it changes things. Going back to what I was saying about the Ravens, that team was special because that defense was rare. Just like Tampa Bay back in when they had Warren Sapp. When you have a defense that locked down and ready to go, you can have confidence in your offense doing what it wants to do instead of what it has to do. And if I had to pick somebody, I'm going with Carl Otis, 100%.
All right, you're anxious to see. Let me ask you this here: does he start day one?
Maybe. There's a good possible. I think there's a good possibility for it.
It's good. All right. Kaes, man, Chiefs rookies here, throwing another curveball your way, man.
9-7-1.
He's
Brandon.
With you.
We was good, man, and then you had to do something crazy. 9-71.
Well, I'm gonna take this down here, but hey, man, the Chiefs rookie class, man. You talked about it a little bit.
Look, now you making me have to be childish. Now the Ravens are going to be 8-8-2. How did they get those 2 draws? I don't know. It's the Ravens. They found a way. So yeah.
Kaes, man, what do you think about the Chiefs rookies, man?
All right, Denver Gator. You know what? I think Karlaftis will have the most playing time of those 3. Simply because, and we've talked about this before, but being a wide receiver, a rookie wide receiver in Andy Reid's offense, there's so much to learn. He asks a lot more than a typical offensive coordinator or offensive-minded head coach will. So for me, unless Sky Moore is just like somehow an amazing sponge, and he could be, I would believe the plan is to sprinkle him in. So there'll be a handful of plays that he gets in each game. And so for that reason, I'm not expecting a whole lot of them out of him this year. But he could surprise as the season goes on. And, again, with Chanel, it really depends on Spags. But, at best, he's going to be linebacker number 3 because Nick Bolton and Willie Gay, as long as they're healthy and stay out of legal trouble, as long as Gay doesn't destroy any more vacuums or anything like that, Chanel will probably be linebacker number 3 if, as I said, Spags doesn't go on his, thing and he decides that Jermaine Carter Jr. should be our 3rd linebacker there. Although I am excited to see him. I'm huge on interior pressure. Leo Chanel blitzed a lot in the A gap with Wisconsin, and I would love to see him blitzing and helping bring that interior pressure with Chris Jones at the defensive tackle position. But I'm gonna go with Karlaftis as well because one, right now he's been working with Mahomes as trainer on his bend, but if Karlaftis makes it, it's going to finally give the Chiefs that edge player they've been looking for. Whether that we really haven't had since we had Emmanuel Ogbah and let him go to the Dolphins. And so if he hits, then, you're not that we'd be missing much anyway, but you're not going to miss anything when the Chiefs let Frank Clark go out of his contract at the end of this season. And you always hope that Joshua Kando is going to live up to the athletic potential that caused them to draft him in the 4th round last year. So it would be an amazing thing for the Chiefs if they hit on George Karlaftis this year and Joshua Kando last year, because we've been missing edge rushers for years, and this is after years of having some of the best ones like Jared Allen, Derek Thomas. We can go back that far. Derek Thomas, Jared Allen, Tamba Hali, Justin Houston, and so we've been hungering for that.
Yeah.
And Gooch, you're having some audio issues right now. I see that you're muted. I don't know if you can you want to give your 2 cents in on the Chiefs rookie situation or not.
Oh yes, I do.
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
I love my 2 guys, Kaes and Big Chief Shawn, and their Galifianakis pick. But
he said Galifianakis.
Trent McDuffie
he does it on
is going to
purpose.
start.
I know.
Trent McDuffie is going to start week 1 as a slot corner. I think. Okay, I'm going to go all HGs on you here for a second, and I'm going to listen to the coach, Andy Reid, and he says a lot without saying anything. And I think the guy that's going to have the breakout or get the most playing time is going to be our 6'5", 300-something pound right tackle, Kennard. And I say that because when he came out of college, everybody said he would have to work on his footwork. He would have to work on this. He was short-armed to play tackle. He needed to play guard. And when everybody asks Coach about it, Coach says, verbatim, smart kid, big, hungry, quick feet, moves good. Like, this is an offensive lineman that's a head coach talking about an offensive lineman that nobody had any faith in. And I really, when I said the Great Wall of Mahomes, Brown is 6'6" or whatever, Tooney, Creed, Trey, and Kennard, are you kidding? The pancake blocks alone are going to be highlight worthy. And there's going to be so many holes and so many times that Patrick is last year, even with, was it Wiley playing right tackle? There were times that Mahomes was in the pocket and he lost himself because he had so much time. He wasn't used to it. Like, he's standing back there. He's like, maybe I should take off. Nobody's coming close to me. And I think with Kennard and Trey with them chips on their shoulder from being 5th and 6th round picks or 6th and 5th round picks or whatever, respectively, I think that offensive line war is won in the trenches, gentlemen. And I would love to see Andy Reid just let those big dogs eat. And so I think Kennard is going to be the guy that is going to start day 1 and have the biggest impact.
If you want to see something good, Darius Kennard. I'm Darian Kennard. He was probably the best offensive lineman in the SEC last year. It was just a substandard combine that got him available in the 5th round, even though a lot of mock drafts had him going 2nd and 3rd. So I just kind of touching base on that here. Funk says Dan Kaliftis was Luke G's favorite defensive end, outside linebacker in the draft. And by the way, I haven't said anything yet, but Luke G was nice enough to let me come on the show a couple times. The guy does a lot of research on college prospects. My issue with Kaliftis is that I wanted him to play in a 3-4 defense, not the standard 4-3. I don't know how ready he'll be, but he'll play day 1. I don't think he's going to start, though.
Hey, I want to give these to Gooch because I think he needs them. These are my HG glasses. I just want to say, Gooch, you were rebutting us when I actually answered the question that Denver Gator asked, which was, what do we think about these three guys? He asked specifically what we thought about Sky Moore, George Karlaftis, and Leo Chenal. He didn't ask what we thought about all the rookies, so I was answering on those three. So if we want to go off of that, I'm not going to disagree with Kennard at right tackle and McDuffie, both having the most starts of all the rookies at all, because that's spot on. But I was giving him my opinion like he asked on those three players.
I saw the rookie
me
comment and I went off, but yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah. So,
okay,
so
well,
it's kind of funny we all agree on that round pick.
Allow me to retort, because I was handling some business and I didn't read the question, and I'm going to go with Sky Moore.
I really hope Sky Moore turns out to be this player.
The reason, and I have my reasoning. I have my reasoning behind it. Yes.
Andy Interesting Reid's strategy, playbook, Cotton.
I know that. I know that Andy Reid's playbook is notoriously difficult. I also really don't have a lot of faith in Hardman. I think that if it was going to be something with Hardman, it would have happened already. And I think they're going to try and force him the ball, because they're not going to want to sign him next year. So they're going to start integrating Sky in the beginning. And he'll have 500 yards and probably 35 catches. And I think that we did a huddle or something where first round edges and stuff like that, from first round all the way down, they average 4 sacks in a given year. And so if we go by that, then Karlaftis is only good for 4 sacks, which, I mean, yes, in the grand scheme of things, we only had 21 more than that as a team last year. But it's not going to be a difference maker on that side of the ball. And I think Sky Moore will play more of a part in this team than Chanel or Karlaftis, because Chanel is the third linebacker.
I heard a dog barking. Which one of you guys is a closet Browns fan?
Funk brings up a great point. Actually, I like the player, Nick Bonito. I just question that when you have a Pro Bowl outside linebacker and Bradley Chubb, then you spend $70 million on Randy Gregory. Why use your first draft pick on an outside linebacker when it seems like you've already invested draft capital money into that? But if he starts, what do you do with Chubb? I'm assuming since you gave $70 million to Gregory, this is a reason why I'm not high on Denver, because I thought that I love this player. I didn't get why you addressed that position. By the way, there's a massive hole at right tackle. So I'm just saying that. Sorry, Denver fans. I remember watching Barnes films after Lions drafted him, and Kaliftis kept popping off the tape. He should fit well in Kansas City. The big question is really with Kaliftis is he ready for playoff time? He may not start weeks 1 through 6, but is he the starter playoff time, and can he contribute? Denver Gator says, I'm all about the defensive linemen, linebackers positions. I played the studs play defense. That's what Kansas City did, except for Sky Moore and Kennard. It was basically a massive defensive draft. That O-line sounds almost as good as the Lions. Okay. Chiefs I'll give you some credit, Funk. Your Lions offensive line's good. The Chiefs actually have a bigger offensive line, believe it or not. I don't think there's an offensive line bigger than Kansas City's if Kennard starts. Kennard's legitimately 330. So Denver Gator says, I know everyone thinks Denver's defense will fall off. I'm more excited this year for Broncos all around, but the defense will surprise a lot of people. Vic Fangio was a defensive genius. He's been in the NFL since the 80s. For those of you who are longtime NFL history fans, he was the linebackers coach for the Dome Patrol, universally considered the greatest linebacking core of all time. It has to take a step down. You go from a defensive guy who has, I think, 30 years of being a defensive coach. You take him away for a guy who's been an NFL coordinator for 4 or 5 years, and he's on the offensive side of the ball. So, but if the defense is very good and Russell Wilson can do what everybody thinks, it's a dangerous team. I don't see it. But Wink is the Gators fan. I'm all about Elam. I think McDuffie is pretty good, but I'm biased to believe Elam is better. Elam was the guy. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Elam was the guy Buffalo ended up trading up for and getting. I'm going to tell you this for an absolute fact. Buffalo would have taken McDuffie over Elam in a heartbeat. But Elam would have been a good fit. Kenzie's defense, though, has a lot more size. Denver, I'm definitely interested to see how Evero does after his time with the Rams. By this time, I like the McDuffie more. Now he's the chief of Elam is good. Not sure. Yeah. Okay. 8-8-2. So McDuffie is a great vertical to make up for lack of height. Thurney and Humphrey are fairly small though. They're both around 300, but Orlando Brown's about 350, Trey Smith's 330, and Kennard's about 330. I depends on. I think Orlando Brown's listed at 350, but I think he's closer to 380. I could be making stuff up though. And if we're going big at the tackle spots, it would be better. Absolutely. Guys, listen, we've been on the air for 2 hours and 15 minutes, so we're going to wrap this up. But before I get off here, I want to encourage you, if you haven't already, if in the description below is Big Chief Shawn's YouTube channel. There's a link to it. There's also a link to the BTP show, which is on Thursday night at midnight if you're a night owl like myself. I just found this out last night. I'm actually just playing on my phone, and I was like, these guys are doing a live stream? Oh, hell yeah. And it was great live stream. It was a fantastic show. So I encourage people, especially if you're a night out on Thursday, you gotta check that show out. I will be out of town, but depending on anyway, it's a long story. But hopefully I'll be able to make it next Thursday. But before we get out of here, final thoughts, guys.
Well, firstly, obviously, everybody out there who's new. I do Chiefs content, but you can always subscribe to the channel. You always probably ask yourself, what's the Chiefs tailgate really like? Well, I'll show you that. So, follow my channel, number one. Number two, follow BTB. These boys know what they're talking about. And I totally agree with Dan. There should be more late night sports. We don't do that anymore. We used to do that back in the 90s and stuff like that. But, that was a cool content of being able to talk sports after dark or, because everybody can't talk, sports when they want. Some people work all day and want to talk sports, but miss all on the good stuff. And so I do appreciate those brothers in doing that. And I think this is going to be a defining year for Patrick Mahomes. I have this inkling feeling in my bones that Mahomes, without that heel, I won't say crutch, but without heel, egging him on to do bigger plays, he'll play more calm and focused football and just be regular so he can just get his 5,050 again. So, I'm calling it. He's getting 5,050 again. Yeah.
The numbers aren't exactly accurate on the internet. It's hard to believe that the internet is untrue, but man Kaes, man.
Blasphemy.
Man, final thoughts, man, and please pimp your show a little more. I absolutely had a fantastic time last night on putting some comments in on your show, so please pimp it a little.
Yeah, it was great to have you in the comments last night, and I want to thank you for having all of us on your show, and that we're going to get you on our show as well.
Hell yeah.
Someone shut that Browns fan up. I'm kidding. I love dogs. I do believe that Denver Gator is actually a sub of our show. Denver, you can confirm that in the comments, but I believe Denver Gator is, and so you can check us out at Bak Talk Bros, BAK. That stands for Brian, who's Gooch, Aaron, who is the moderator at RGR Football on YouTube, and myself, Kaes. And so you can check us out there. I've shortened it to BTB because I'm lazy. But then someone asked me what that means, and I have to explain it. So, I might as well just say it. but if I don't have to, I'm going to be like Kevin on The Office and me say not many word. So.
Here's the thing. I put a link to the BTB show in the description, but I didn't put a link to RGR. RGR, for those of you that don't know, correct me if I'm wrong about this, but what it is, Apple Podcasts has a guy who talks about all 32 teams, and RGR does the Kansas City Chiefs. He actually lives in Denver. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, he lives outside of Denver. RGR is Ryan Tracy, and he is on Locked On Chiefs. He's also one of the lead analysts on Locked On Drafts. If anyone watched the Locked On Draft show that they did, he was one of the main people they had on set this year live for the draft. But he also has his own YouTube channel, which is RGR, which is Ryan Going Rogue. And so Gooch and myself do a program as part of that channel. They have daily content, and we're the Friday or Saturday leftovers, so we contribute on there.
I don't have the
I
don't have RGR link down below, but the RGR it's a great show. For those of you who don't know, the Locked On Network, they do all 32 teams. The guy, Ryan Tracy, he does Kansas City. He's phenomenal. Cody Rourke does the Denver Broncos. He's amazing as well. I actually follow him on social media. And 1 year I tried to do all 32 teams. I tried to listen to every single one of them. And this was a couple years ago, but over half of them are terrible. The guy that did the Raiders was god awful. The guy that did the Chargers was terrible. The guy, Cody Rourke, who does Denver, very good. Ryan going rogue, RGR, he's amazing. He's really good. So whoever you're an NFL team of, whoever you're a fan of, I should say, I worded that completely bad. But,
yeah, and it's a predominantly Chiefs channel because he's a Chiefs fan, but he has an extended knowledge of all 32 teams, just like you do, Dan.
Yeah.
And we have people from all 32 teams that come in the chats. You're usually received well, unless it's, a fan after like a loss or something, or just a belligerent person. But, we have Raiders fans in there. We have Chargers fans come in and other teams as well. It's like this, only it's a bit of a bigger channel, but yeah.
No, it's actually really good. Really.
And he doesn't do Coke before the show.
I am...
Which I don't know why. I mean, yeah. Be a cool kid for once, Ryan. Okay? Do a little cha-cha. It's okay, man.
Energy drinks is not code for cocaine, it's code for cocaine.
When hasn't it been?
Despite popular, I don't get hopped up on drugs before I do the show, but I am jacked up. And
it's during the show.
Cocaine,
it's during the show. Everybody was laughing at Amber Heard during the trial. Dan was taking notes of that little that little Kleenex snort that she did. So when he's tilting back that coffee or energy drink, he knows exactly what he's doing to.
You can't get away with that, Dan. We all know about that energy drink called cocaine, man. It's cool.
It's not cocaine.
It says it right there on the can. It says it on the can, man.
The lady doth protest too much.
So Brandon, we're actually, even though we're all Chiefs fans, our channels just want me and Bak Talk Sports just want to talk football. Big Chief Shawn gives you the Arrowhead experience, which if you've never been to Arrowhead, do check out a couple of his videos where it talks about him. It shows him going through the parking lot, interacting. It's really cool. It's really cool.
And if you're a fan of another team who's coming to Arrowhead to play the Chiefs, watch it so you can learn some tips from them to make your experience the best.
Big Chief Shawn, you let people from other teams on your videos. I've seen it many times, and he interacts with them. And Kansas City Chiefs fans, for the most part, I mean, look, there's jerk fans in every NFL team.
Well, for the most part, the community is more like accepting of other teams. That's why I have other teams on there. Not only to, give them crap so they can stand up for their team, because that's the whole point. This is a competition. But the main part is just to see their experience, enjoying the atmosphere of Arrowhead Stadium. And overwhelmingly from every other team's like, man, I got my home team, but this is something else. This is the most amazing time I've ever had. I'm drunk already, and it's only 9 o'clock. So it's like, so
there's some good stuff, man. There's some really good stuff.
Yeah.
If Terry Bradshaw can do it and then get on air Sunday mornings, why can't you?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys. Hey, on that note, I'm going to end it. Brandon, man, it's good to have you on, man. I do need a Ravens fan, so I mean, I'd love to have you on. I hope to hear more from you. Gooch is, I think he's just sneaking in and out because on my end, he goes mute, unmute, mute, unmute. So.
Yeah, I have to because I run several businesses, and so sometimes I have to take phone calls. And before you sign off, I gotta say a couple of things, and I won't make it long.
All right.
It was really an honor being on here. I am going to subscribe and check this out. Of course, my boys, we all do that. We've all pitched our shows or whatever like that. I just want to, as a Chiefs fan, and you were saying jerk Chiefs fans, a friend of mine runs How About Those Chiefs, and he was called racist because he said Lamar Jackson was the best running back in football because he's a white guy saying that about a black quarterback. That's not cool. Sports is supposed to bring people together, not tear us apart. And in that sense, you need to tell somebody you love them, give them their flowers, enjoy this, man. Like, your team, even if it's bad right now, is going to get good again. That's the reason for the salary cap. That's the reason for the parity. And there's no reason to tear anybody down. You know what I'm saying? And make sure you check out the Bak Talk Bros. I'm always right. Just come check us out.
All right. I've been showing some of these comments. These are great comments here. Yes, I'm collecting fans from other from other teams. My goal is to get fans from all 32 fan bases on my show. But yeah, and I did not make anybody do cocaine before the show. That's a vicious lie. So anyway, we're going to end it. But
So that was flour you gave me, man.
we're going to end on these unfair, dishonest comments, and we're going to end it here. I will be back next Friday. Guys,
if your house doesn't get raided by the government.
My house does not get raided, I will be back next Friday.
That's all right, Heisenberg. Everybody knows. You're goddamn right.
All right. I will be back next Friday. Guys, have a great week. And don't forget, check out the links are in the description. Check it out. Subscribe to their channels. I'll see everybody back next Friday.
Thanks, everybody.